let's make dinner again.
Y'all still not gonna share? Today's theme is freestyle, and I might have forgotten my ring light, but back camera flash clutch the dub. Back up a little. Ingredients are as such: seasoning, shrimp, onions, ravioli, cheese, and baking soda, because it's what my fridge had to offer me. First, we're gonna put our scrimp in this pot and help their spirits pass on by putting them in water one last time. Nighty night, little one. Turn the heat on to make them warm and toast, and prep our veggies. She got a knife! JK! And this is still the fastest onion cutter I know! Gordon Ramsay is gooning to this content. In it, Gordon. And now, we wait.
Hey, so do you want to hear a joke?
Joke? Bitch, you talk?
Of course I do.
Did you just?
So
Wrong answer, forehead.
Rude.
Mwah, no bars. Now we drain our shrimp, peel our shrimp, and saute them with our veggies. Boom, bang, pow. Season them. And you get something like this. A shrimp medley. Or a Trump circle jerk. Now for the ravioli. Fuck you, I don't want no ravioli, ninja. Place them in your pot of water and boil the hell out of them. Or until they float. Like this. Boop. Boop. And for our tomato sauce, we're gonna mix equal parts dihydrogen monoxide and tomato juice I milk from a tomato cow. Make sure you get every last drop because I don't get food stamps. Now we add our very much organic and not store-bought butter that we got from a cow and lightly stir with a spoon we welded in blacksmith class.
Ran by a cow.
Ever had organic ASMR? Now add a dollop of cream cheese you acquired from that same cow's foreskin. Black math is adding sweet things to something sour. We don't want tomato aid, we want less sour tomatoes. The answers to your problems is baking soda. The alkalinity of the substance can neutralize the acidity in the
Cancel
tomato.
Slim Shady?
No, cut the acidity.
Gen Z try to cancel the Slim Shady?
Oh, that's not.
Not on my watch. Gen Z, you must think you're so clever and free. Trying to outmod the legendary Marshall P. I'll rip your face off like a chimpanzee. Clock that T, bitch, you fell out of a coconut tree. I'll make you bow real cocaine. Hands on your knees, Angelina Jolie. Mom spaghetti, your daddy issue scream shrimp ravioli.
Yeah, now. Back to our dinner. Let's combine our elements. Pasta. A white boy on my roster. I mean shrimp. Mezcla. That's mix in Spanish. Voila. That's violin in French. And dinner is served. Now, time for plating. Ah, it looks so good! Glamour shots. The last time y'all greedy asses was foaming at the mouth. Here you go, Biggie. Now let's get everything on the fork so you can get a nice bite. Say ah. Gotta be quicker than that. Oh. Well, sister, what's the verdict? Shabbat bat boop. Somebody please cuff me. For real.
Peace. So, some of you have asked me why I haven't talked about the Yuval situation, and even suggested that I haven't talked about it because Yuval and I are friends. Wrong, black guy.
Yuval is my friend. He's my real life friend. Not everything has to be content. Why would I make a think piece about a person I can talk to directly?
By the time I found out about the Yuval situation, it had been thoroughly smothered and covered, particularly by black creators, specifically the black woman that Yuval had besmirched in the first place. Many of the points I would have addressed had been addressed, while you may see it as hypocrisy for Christian to criticize other public figures who have major platforms, who say bigoted, ignorant things, like Yuval's inherently Zionistic, harmfully anti-black diatribe, only to give his friend a think piece pass. It's actually more par for the course than you think it is. I've seen a few times when popular or beloved creators put their feet in their mouths, and their usually quite vocally opinionated friends either say little to nothing at all about it, or very tepidly pop them on the wrist. That may seem unethical to you, but is it? Who's holding creators accountable? Just because a creator does content based on the news, law, medicine, history, doesn't mean that they are a journalist, a lawyer, a doctor, or historian. And yes, friendships and relationships, be they personal or professional, do influence what influencers say or do not say. So I would recommend that even if the content creator is a journalist, a lawyer, or doctor, or historian, or linguist, you as the viewer take the content as a suggestion, not as a source. Even if you agree with it, especially if you agree with it, consider everything we say as a starting point for you to do your own research. I don't really have a lot of online friends with whom I have offline relationships, but my creator friends already know if you throw us under the bus, don't expect a pass. They wouldn't even accept a pass, and I wouldn't respect them if they did. That's what friends are for. We out ya.
You think people who have wives aren't gay?
Oh, no, that's a whole different conversation.
My name is Ananiah. This is Gaydar. Today I'm going to find out if you're straight, gay, or homophobic. What's your name and what are your preferred pronouns?
I'm Max. I go by he, him.
You guys, we have to get more creative. I want you to name literally any famous bisexual.
I feel like, is Austin Butler bisexual?
He has the vibes. Can you go with someone confirmed?
Harry Styles?
That is actually the most contentious name you could have said. You know what? Let's move on before I punch you in the throat.
Why?
No one needs to come out. I just think, hey, at a certain point, it would be nice to know. What does A stand for in LGBTQIA?
Asexual?
It does, yeah, good job. Were you nervous about that?
I'm nervous about this whole thing.
Yeah, I will look inside of your soul
I believe
and exploit it for money from the internet. What Disney character is based off of a drag queen?
These are great questions, by the way. I'm completely stumped. Ursula.
Ursula's correct.
She's stunning, but like, wow.
That girl, she's been doing drag 26 years at least. You know that girl. You tip her a $5 bill every time she comes out and she just stands there and does nothing. I love her. Join us next time for the next episode of American Idol. What is a binder?
An undergarment that you can strap your breasts to kind of flatten your chest.
Absolutely. What is gender euphoria?
I guess I see myself in the mirror and I kind of like identify with who I see.
That's so sweet. You look in the mirror and you feel gender euphoria? That's okay.
Maybe.
All right, divas.
Okay, yay.
I'll take it. Who is Charlie XCX referencing when she says, I'm so Julia?
Oh yeah, I've been wondering that actually. I would assume Fox.
Yeah, you're correct.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of like amazing Julias.
Who was recently suspended from YouTube for their homophobic comments? Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, or Jake Paul?
I would guess Ben Shapiro.
It's Candace Owens.
Really?
Yes. Oh, that had it coming. I don't know, guys. I'm actually stumped. I'm gagged. I'm going to just go with a blanket statement and say you're queer. Am I close?
I'm not even building suspense. It's just I truly have like no real.
You don't have you don't have to come out right now. Okay, we're not trying to do that. Just trying to have a little fun.
Straight. But, you know.
Have you ever kissed a guy before?
Yes. Yeah.
Quick. Okay.
Yeah.
If you were going to be loud when Arrington posted his testimony last year saying that we shouldn't be shocked, or the only reason that we're shocked is because we don't know what it means to be convicted by Jesus, where are y'all at now that he said that he was being religiously manipulated? It's like y'all are willing to reap the benefits of somebody seemingly coming closer to God, leaving something like their sexuality behind them as if it's not a part of them and a part of who they are because they were born with it. But when it comes to somebody being harmed by this same group in the name of the same thing, there's no noise. Y'all act like it's not happening. It's crickets. What's going on? Where y'all at? Somebody said that he was in chains. He was in chains before that testimony, and when he released that testimony, he was free from his chains. Mind you, he was actively in chains because he was being manipulated, and that's not how he felt. And he is very much so still gay. So come on. I think before anything, y'all should read the book. Y'all should debunk all of the hateful shit that y'all have upheld throughout the inception of this religion. Y'all should understand that homosexuality has never been a sin and it was replaced. You should learn what it was replaced with and why. Maybe that would put a lot of shit into perspective and y'all will stop being so motherfucking hateful. Jackie Hill Perry, your awakening is waiting for you, baby. Well, you won't be getting Kehlani, but you've been dragging them through the mud. Like, find somebody else. There's other lesbians.
This shit on Facebook just fucking killed me. Dear Santa, I am writing this on the day after Xmas and I am very sad. I only received one of the 2 presents I asked for. Since you ate my cookies, I will assume that my missing gift was a mistake. I will give you 1 week to fix this, Jeremy. Dear Jeremy, I am sorry you are disappointed with your presents. You asked for 2 very expensive presents, and Santa can only do so much. You need to learn to be grateful for what you have, not upset about what you don't. If you continue to complain, I will have no choice but to add you to the naughty list next year, Santa. Dear Fatty, Your threats don't scare me. I played your game and you did not deliver. This is not okay. I will give you 1 week and then you will pay. Jeremy. P.S. I don't know why you care that it's expensive when you have elf slaves to make things for you. I think you are naughty for having slaves. Period, Jeremy. Tell that fat bitch. Dear Jeremy, you are being a very bad little boy because you cannot be happy with what you have. I have talked to your parents and told them to take away your Wii U. Wow. Fucking dick move. Now you have nothing. Once you learn to be grateful, perhaps you can have it back. I am very disappointed in you, Jeremy. You will need to be an extra good boy this year if you want to make it back on the nice list. And this shit's still going. Dear Santa, I do not like that stunt you pulled in my pants. You are on my naughty list. Now be afraid. You look slow and easy to kill. Enjoy your cookies next year because they will be poisoned. I hope you die. Jeremy was not fucking playing.
Why is this character still in a wheelchair if this is a fantasy world and you can just use magic to heal them? I'll kill you. I hate this question so much, and it only ever comes up around wheelchairs, which is infuriating. Like, could you imagine if we had this same argument about glasses, which are also a disability aid? Why is this character in a fantasy world wearing glasses when they could just heal their short-sightedness with magic? I don't know, maybe because in the real world people do wear glasses and would love to see that in a fantasy world. Maybe that's why. Like, there are so many in-universe reasons that are perfectly valid for why someone might use a wheelchair in a world where magic and healing exists. Number one, you already live in a world where we have the capacity to cure a shit ton of stuff that people still deal with and even die from every single day. It's called the American healthcare system. Maybe that character is in a wheelchair because magic is too fucking expensive. I wonder if maybe you could comment on any real life parallels to that. Maybe that character is in a wheelchair because healing magic exists, but it would extract some other kind of cost that they're not willing to pay. Maybe that character is in a wheelchair or a mobility aid because they learned a fundamental life lesson through that disability that they want to always be reminded of. Similarly to how a character might stitch up a wound badly because they want to keep the scar. And maybe that character is in a wheelchair because the author just wants to write someone in a wheelchair. Y'all only ever act like you don't understand stakes and consequences when it comes to disability. Like when people say that we didn't like that Barbara Gordon's paralysis was reversed, we're always told, like, why would she still be disabled in this world where, like, we have the technology to reverse disability? But the exact same world also has the ability to bring people back from the dead, and no one seems to be advocating to resurrect Thomas and Martha Wayne. Like, sometimes shit happens because it makes a character better. That's called good writing. You just can't see that because just like people say that their fantasy escapism is ruined by the inclusion of Black people, you find escapism in a world without disabled people, and that's really, really weird.
And I'm real tatted. Tell Zeus and that work, I'm the real bad.
I don't like how y'all talking about her. Point blank period. What are you tired of? She got her hair done. She got her hair done the way she wanted to, and somehow you're tired of that? TikTok's comments are like coming in out of order, but somebody said that she just likes her natural hair, and this person says she with a question mark. Y'all already know what they're trying to do with that. Like, shit like this to me is so weird, because why have this kind of reaction to somebody doing something that only affects them? So I go on her page. I just wanted to check out some of her content, and I seen a more recent video of her being very frustrated and going off. And she was talking about how people within our own community talk bad about each other. And she's not wrong. That happens a lot because it's mostly Black people talking about her, and then they started comparing her to a man. Like, come on, y'all. Y'all see what I'm saying? Like, this is under the video of her venting her frustrations about how people just keep talking about her because they don't like how she gets her hair done. They don't like that she didn't add in braiding hair. And some people don't like that she got the beads. That's why they are acting this way with her. I don't think y'all understand what that shit does to somebody. You have thousands of people bullying you, talking bad about you, and if y'all think it stops at them comments, it doesn't. I can guarantee you people are in her DM saying some wild ass shit. Because y'all have the privilege of staying anonymous and just talking shit through a phone, a lot of y'all have gotten very comfortable just disrespecting people. It does not matter what a black girl or a black woman does. It does not matter. Y'all be mad at lace fronts. Y'all be mad at natural hair. Y'all be mad at this. Y'all be mad at everything. And it be coming from people within our own community, even other black girls and black women. And that shit is sad and disappointing. One moment y'all saying that we should embrace our natural selves, and in the moment that somebody is doing that, it's still a problem. That girl is beautiful. Her hair is beautiful. That style is beautiful. And she said that she doesn't get like extensions in her hair because she's allergic to it. I don't care if she wasn't allergic to it. She doesn't have to get it in her hair if she doesn't want to. What does that have to do with y'all? Y'all not paying for it. It's not on y'all head. So why does it matter? And to that young lady, keep going. Keep posting that content. Keep running up them numbers and keep getting your hair done the way you like getting it done.
But you know what I love?
I would like to know what you love, Dua Lipa. Indubitably.
I don't know, so many people that I've showed it to, I've brought to the dark side.
They brought to tears.
Shall we get started? Shall we get started? I hate that voice. Shall we get started? Whatever, one of those has to be good.
So I get vanilla ice cream.
Sorry, I was just getting the ice cream. Vanilla bean. Ali Scoop. Why do you all watch my corny content? Why do you watch my corny content?
And I put olive oil on it.
Extra virgin. That's you. Don't use that.
And sea salt.
The salt of the sea. Shall we try it? The moment of truth.
Get into it.
Hallelujah. Oh, I love ice cream. Yes. Hallelujah.
Let the viewers say amen.
I read two kind of harrowing news articles today. The first of which being about Israel's violent raid of the West Bank, which is now the largest scale raid that the West Bank has had since the Second Intifada. Airstrikes on refugee camps, drones, bulldozers, of course, as well as blocking ambulances, just very par for the course. Folks in positions of leadership calling for the same that happened in Gaza to happen to the West Bank. The second article was about Namibia, which is a country in Southwest Africa, when it was still German Southwest Africa. That is where Germany did their first genocide of the 21st century against the Herero and Nama people there. And then afterwards, it was a settler colony where it was just occupied by apartheid South Africa. So they've had their history, their fair share. In small part due to El Nino, but most certainly exacerbated by the climate crisis, they are currently undergoing their worst drought in over 100 years. And because over 1 million people are facing acute food insecurity, they are going to have to eat elephants, hippos, wildebeest, zebras, etc. Because what else are they gonna eat? And it's moments like this where I really just start feeling insane about the fact that by no decision of my own, my government and my tax dollars are being used to actively hurt people in the global south, just regularly. That's just the thing that we do. And you start to feel really powerless, right? Because the party, which I have voted for several times, please no one come at me, that has purported itself to be the party of human rights, the party of disadvantaged people, has taken a right turn. I don't know how to reverse that. I really don't. And folks within the party have been leaning more into law enforcement, which then begs the question, law enforcement for whom? When? What laws are we choosing to enforce? Because in U.S. federal law, there's multiple different things that say that we cannot be supplying arms to Israel right now.
I think the best example currently, given the fact the World Food Program just stopped their distribution in Gaza, is the fact that we are not supposed to be giving aid to organizations that inhibit the flow of necessary aid. And that's why the World Food Program stopped their programming in Gaza. Other folks have excused the fact that Kamala is no longer in support of banning fracking and no longer backs the Green New Deal and saying, well, the majority of people don't back the Green New Deal anyways. But is that an issue of like it being a bad policy or it being communicated poorly? Because in polls, regardless of party affiliation, so like Republicans, Independents, and Democrats, when they were presented by like well-communicated summaries of the bills, people were all net positive in favor of it. I say the bills because there's a Green New Deal, but they also like splintered off into like Green New Deal for public schools, Green New Deal for cities, Green New Deal for this, that, or the other. Like for me, I very much view voting as like a preventative measure, not like as harm reduction, but as like preventing more disastrous policy from coming into place. So like not losing ground that we've already covered, you know. But our leaders owe it to us and frankly the rest of the world, namely the global south, to actually cover substantially more ground, like fight to cover more ground, not to have these piecemeal approaches when people are dying. People are dropping like flies. Like, I don't even know how to make my regular, like, election season, register to vote, find out the other races that are on your ballots, because there's a lot that are very, very important, and I do greatly believe that people should vote. But I do have genuine concerns that when people see their policymakers have these wholesale dismissals of incredibly popular policies that have the potential to save hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives, like, for example, an arms embargo, climate legislation, that people will feel more demoralized and feel less driven, let alone excited to cast their ballots.
I don't know what's happening, but I've been getting a lot of Gen Z hatred content from like older conservative people who think that we're making men more feminine and we don't know what a real man is nowadays. And I want to entertain this because I think they're right, but I don't think they're thinking about it from the place that I want them to. Like, it's pissing me off because they're so close to the truth, but the answer that they're going to get to asking themselves critically would not be uninformed, would not be socially unaware in the way that they want. They also use this argument to devalue queer and trans people, saying like, oh, you didn't have a father, so obviously you're going to be trans and quote-unquote mentally ill. When the whole truth is I'm trans and mentally ill because I watched Family Guy before I knew how to multiply fractions. That's what we should be talking about. I have an analogy to help explain what I mean, but I'm having a hard time translating it into straight man. So if anyone's capable in doing this, please let me know. I like to think about in 1990 and the early 2000s that having a thin eyebrow was such the fad that everyone had to do it. Think like a la the skinny jean epidemic in 2010, right? At a certain point socially, everyone accepts that we can no longer, quote unquote, wear thin brows, right? We have to do something differently with our eyebrows. And especially if those thin eyebrows are rage playing Overwatch and screaming racial slurs into a microphone while listening to a podcast about assaulting women and cryptocurrency. See what I'm saying? Like, and whereas we can't criminalize people for wearing thin brows, especially if they do it in a respectable and non-harmful way, we also realize that not every thin eyebrow was going to fit everybody's face. You see what I'm saying? Like, if we force thin eyebrows onto everyone, obviously there's going to be people who just don't fit that mold. I don't know. I just can't conceptualize why people are trying to keep the archetype of man that, you know, works out 7 days a week and brushes his teeth with chicken seasoned with water and egg whites. What I think it is, and this is a video for another day, is I think a lot of people from that generation have been hurt by men or from being a man, that they feel like if we start to invalidate what that is, they live these experiences that don't really account to anything. That's terribly sad. We're not going to talk about that today, though. I guess in conclusion, what I'm trying to say is I'd much rather sit next to the cis hetero man with the manicure rather than the man with a girl around his arm who lost the light in her eyes. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'd much rather go that route. Give me the fruity booty.
Quote that's been on my mind a lot lately is home is not the place you were born in, it's the place you never want to leave. And when people say things like, oh, Mom used to choke slam me through the kitchen table for talking back, but I turned out okay. It's like, no, you didn't. I know you. You use sleep as a coping mechanism, but you feel guilty when you rest. You don't know how to resolve conflict without getting either violent or disrespectful. You struggle to set boundaries. You suffer with anxiety. You could have had a great childhood and still end up with those things, right? Nobody makes it through life unscarred. But the root of a lot of those scars is like avoidance. You know what I'm saying? Like anxiety being like avoidance of the present by focusing on the future, or grief being like avoidance of the present by focusing on the past. relationships, liquor, isolation, whatever your substance of choice might be, it's probably rooted in running away from something, you know? And like distraction and avoidance are great motivators, but bro, they are just horrible like compasses, you know? Because you're not going anywhere. Running in circles will just leave you depressed, tired, anxious, bro, because there's no finish line. But in order to go in a straight line, you need a direction. It's really something I'm working on right now is like reframing how I see home. You know what I'm saying? Like, home is not the place I'm at right now. It's the place where I want to be, the place I don't want to leave, you know? So it's like, what does my physical home look like? You know, what does my spiritual home look like? What does my mental home look like? You know, what is the person that lives in that home? How do they behave? How do they act? How do they move? I really got to be real with myself and ask myself, how can I align my current behaviors with the behaviors of the versions of me that live in those homes? You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, you can't move in overnight. You know what I'm saying? But I can move a lawn chair today, get the grill in tomorrow, you know? Like somebody will play with me, it's like I should snap on you. But that type of behavior isn't how I want to furnish my new home. You know, so I'm going to just chuckle and keep it pushing. Y'all know I'm not no guru, but it's just free game to the real, raw, the authentic. I done felt every emotion, and I know what it feels like to try to draw up that map to a place you've never been before. So I'm always trying to get a free game back as soon as I pick it up, but free to guys.
This is how my skin went from looking like this to this, using something that you already have in your kitchen. This has become one of my favorite face masks.
Hold on. You telling me we using eggs as face masks now? I'm trying this shit today. Shut up. Welcome to the first episode of Is This Bullshit or Is This For Real For Real? Today, we got a bowl, we got some eggs, and we're making a face mask. Let's go. Just to let y'all hoes know, no filter on, and I wash my face. Look, you see, bitch, I'm scraping my skin at this point. Ain't nothing on my skin, okay? Now, let me put this egg, and we're gonna put the yolk on my face. Now, I don't know if this shit gonna work. Also, I'm using like an organic egg. There shouldn't be no difference. A yolk is a yolk. I ain't never tried no shit like this before. Let's put it on our skin. Also, I gotta use my hands. I don't got no brush. Bitch, I ain't that professional. I'm just gonna put this all over my skin. This was 99 cents worth of egg. This one egg I used, so it better be worth it. Okay, now I apply all this shit to my skin. It's already starting to feel a little dry. She said to give it about 15 minutes, then come back. So I'm gonna call y'all bitches when the 15 minutes is up, okay? Oh my God, bitch, this shit has been on for 15 minutes. My skin look like the desert. You like, bitch, you can talk normal. My skin is tight as shit. I'm getting this shit off my face. All you need is cold water, that's it. Get this. Oh, hold on, I'm feeling a little shy. Hold on, let me get this off. Oh shit. The skin is popping, bitch. Ooh, don't look at the hairline. Bitch need a haircut. But okay, I'm fucking with it. Might have to start trying these little face skin TikTok hats or some shit like that. Y'all put me on in the comments. What should I try?
A quote that I keep coming back to over and over again in my life and in the work that I'm doing is one that I first heard from Dr. Maya Angelou.
The truth is, no one of us can be free until everybody is free.
And I know it's quoted often in justice spaces, but I want to map out an example of how this applies to Project 2025, which is the white, straight, conservative Christian male agenda for the United States, meaning that everyone who doesn't fall into that category of human will be negatively impacted by this.
This is the 922-page MAGA manifesto. We printed the whole thing out, and it's brought to you by one of the most conservative DC think tanks, the Heritage Foundation.
Heritage does such an incredible job, and they're going to lay the groundwork and detailed plans for exactly what our movement will do and what your movement will do when the American people give us a colossal mandate to save America, and that's coming.
According to Heritage President Kevin Roberts, this is a Christian nationalist plan to end what he calls the Great Awakening and, quote, rescue our kids, reclaim our culture, revive our economy, and defeat the anti-American left at home and abroad.
You may have heard a few people say that Project 2025 is already here, it's already happening, and this is absolutely true. And if you haven't noticed that, I think it's probably for one of two reasons. Number one is that you probably weren't a part of the groups that were negatively impacted by the initial legislation and laws. And number two, religion or religious beliefs may be preventing you from seeing these things very clearly. I think one of the things that will take us further into overt fascism is our inability to find common ground and advocate for one another and see common ground in our struggles. Last year broke the record for most anti-LGBT legislation pushed in American history. Over 500 anti-gay
gay bills were introduced in 2023, which triples the amount that were introduced in 2022. But so many people were silent because they don't really care about gay or queer folks anyway, and the Bible says blah, 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 blah. We've seen laws that target immigration and immigrants, many of whom came here because of violence that the United States is funding in their home countries. But people were silent because they taken our jobs and they don't belong here anyway. We saw states like Oklahoma forcing teachers to begin teaching the Bible. Louisiana forcing teachers to put the Ten Commandments up in all the classrooms. Making people who practice Islam or Buddhism or African traditional religions, everyone who's not Christian in the land of religious freedom, being now forced to walk into classroom spaces with the writings on the wall. Thou shalt have no other gods before the white Christian God. The very first commandment. The writing on the wall that says thou shalt not steal, even though by doing this they're robbing people of their humanity. Or thou shalt not kill, even though we're actively funding genocide and pushing legislation that harms people. Life or death legislation. But again, some people were silent. Because what's wrong with teaching the Bible, right? These kids need Jesus anyway. But then we saw affirmative action struck down. Then the DEI initiatives that came from the Black Lives Matter movement in 2020. And the Chevron deference ruling. And the Roe v. Wade decision, etc. And now a Trump campaign promises to give police immunity from prosecution. Giving them even further leeway to kill my black ass without consequence.
And we're going to give our police their power back, and we're going to give them immunity from prosecution. So they're not prosecuted for doing their job.
They began further criminalizing homelessness to crack down on encampments. And now we're talking about Project 2025, 4 months before the election. This government will continue to close in on the most marginalized amongst us, because they've already manufactured consent from you the people, to do so. Meaning, for example, they know some of y'all don't care about LGBT folks for whatever reason you tell yourself, religious or otherwise, so much so that you would be okay with them coming for your cousin, your family, your friends. So much so that they are okay with taking away people's human rights right under your nose in the name of religion, as long as it ain't you. Like Chance the Rapper said on First World Problems, y'all just gonna keep clapping and keep acting like Flint got clean water, or y'all don't got teen daughters or black friends or gay cousins. Y'all just don't say nothing. But rest assured, this agenda is coming for everyone who doesn't fit the description that I gave earlier. White, straight, Christian, conservative, male. And they will be successful as long as we allow harm to come to the most marginalized and oppressed among us. All because we're safe and comfortable. That is the message behind the poem I shared sometime earlier. And it's true for what's happening in the United States and for what the United States is doing in other parts of the world. This poem by Kashif Andrew Graham. Esther 4:13, the New American Protest Bible. And Mordecai replied to Esther, don't think that because you sleep behind a white picket fence in American City, US of A, that they will not one day sterilize you, segregate you, stigmatize you, surveil you, silence you, subvert you, as they have done to others, when you kept your mouth sipping on a lavender latte. We have to see that our struggles are a bridge that connect us to other people. And if we don't have a firm grasp on that and what it means, what it really means, then our path to collective liberation, collective freedom will be much more difficult. So if you're really concerned about Project 2025, if you want to stop America's further fall into fascism, into a theocracy, you have to want to stop it even when the laws aren't directly impacting you. You have to see your struggle as being connected to the people struggling around you. Because it is, it absolutely is. And them convincing you that it's not, and you believing them, is how they win. You're going to have to get into community. You're going to have to speak up and take action even when you're not being directly impacted. You might even have to reimagine your relationship to religion as a whole, because they're hiding behind religious language to get off what they're trying to do to people.
Ziklag is a secretive network of ultra-wealthy Christians, conservative Christians, who have this two-part goal, two-part vision for this country. One is to get heavily involved in the 2024 elections, mobilizing pastors, knocking people off the voting rolls, demonizing trans people to motivate conservative voters. Ziklag's goal is nothing less than moving the country toward a state of Christian nationalism, having biblical worldviews, quote-unquote biblical truth, shaping, influencing every part of American culture.
A great example is the Jesus Gets Us campaign that started around the Super Bowl. People were celebrating that campaign without realizing the people behind that campaign are also sponsors of Project 2025, without realizing those commercials were a part of a sliver of a billion-dollar campaign meant to reintroduce Jesus to a disengaged public. This is a reminder that the hundreds of millions of dollars financing this He Gets Us campaign are tied to a conservative nonprofit in Kansas. This is the same organization that invests tens of millions of dollars into organizations like the Alliance Defending Freedom. The Alliance Defending Freedom is listed by the Southern Poverty Law Center as an anti-LGBTQ hate group, and the ADF is also directly involved in the building of Project 2025. They're one of the very first names listed on the advisory board. They realize that there's a problem in religious engagement and they're trying to fix it, because religion is used for social control.
So we're wanting to say, we being a lot of different people, that He gets us. He understands all of us.
He loves who we hate.
He loves who we hate? Like, what's going on here? So like I said, you might have to reimagine your relationship to religion. There are people like Christian A. Smith, Ciara, the gardening theologian, D. Danielle Thomas, aka Unfit Christian, myself, and others, who have plenty of content already helping folks do just that. Because, in the words of Cole Arthur Riley, if your spirituality does not demand the beauty and liberation for every person and piece of the cosmos, it is not God that you are seeking, but a shallow ritual of self-soothing. In the moment that we find ourselves in, if your religion is a pacifier, if it keeps you silent, if it renders you immobile, you should reevaluate your relationship to that religion. And if love is at the center of your religion, then let that love be rooted in justice and freedom for all who have breath. And then it will be so much easier to see the difference in those who just use the language of love and those who practice and embody it. Love and liberation to you all. And as always, like and follow for more content.
Hi everyone, this is Bissam from Gaza, talking to you from the day 322 of the genocide. And yesterday, the Israeli army advanced suddenly in Deir el-Balah, evacuating at least hundreds of thousands in 5 to 6 hours. Why I'm saying suddenly? Because simply the posts that they are posting with the evacuation orders are only for media. At the same time, they are posting these evacuation orders. The Israeli tanks and soldiers starts the military operation in the areas that they told people to evacuate from. So they are not giving people time or even options to go to. Why I'm saying options also? Because people are allowed only to use one road between the cities of Gaza Strip. Yani between, for example, Deir el-Balah to Mawasi Khan Yunis, where they should evacuate, for example, after these evacuation orders, they should use only the beach road or Rashid Street. They're using the street, and suddenly the quadcopters and the tanks are shooting in this area. I mean, the area, the only road between Deir el-Balah and Khan Yunis, they are shooting to people. Dozens were injured while evacuating. طيب. You need to know the context of the middle area of Gaza Strip, even before the genocide. So the middle area of Gaza Strip is between the north of Gaza Strip and Khan Yunis. It's a small governorate, consists of 4 main UNRWA refugee camps. These UNRWA refugee camps are small, crowded, with less infrastructure than any other normal city, because simply it's inhabited by those who were displaced from their villages and cities back in 1948, also by the Israelis. So now it's even overcrowded more because people evacuated their homes in the north of Gaza Strip and in Rafah, and from Rafah and from the east of Khan Yunis, and were prevented to go back by the Israelis, so they are now also displaced there. Deir el-Balah population before the genocide used to be 60,000 people. 60,000. Now it's lived by between 800,000 to 1 million people. Can you imagine this? So my question now, if Israel is trying to protect the civilians and take the appropriate procedures to protect the civilians while they are going in these invasions, ground invasions and military operations, why they are not allowing people to go to the north of Gaza Strip again or to Rafah again, while they announced in their media that they finished working in Rafah in the east of Khan Yunis or in the north of Gaza Strip? Why they are continuing to put more and more people in only 10% of the Gaza Strip area, which is the safe area that they keep bombing every day? Why they are doing this? And you still want to work in the middle area of Gaza Strip that is overcrowded and used to be in very horrible conditions. I mean, in terms of the crowded people living in the streets, in the tents, the sewage, the lack of food, the lack of water, the lack of hygiene and everything, because the overcrowded area. Why are you not allowing people to go back to Rafah or to the north, back to their homes before the genocide? Why they are keep shrinking the humanitarian area or the safe zone, the Mawasi Khan Yunis, and keep pushing more people on this area? It's not logic. It's not logic. The only goal of this genocide is ethnic cleansing. They want to kill more people. They want to make people so scared and terrified until the depth of their minds and hearts and bones that they cannot live anymore safely in Gaza. If they had a chance to leave Gaza, then go, leave. If they didn't have the money, the chance, or the will to leave Gaza during the genocide or after the genocide, then they will be killed. That's it. These questions are blowing my mind. And every time I see, this is terrifying. This is terrifying. I'm crying for 24 hours. I'm crying from yesterday. Seeing all these horrible displacement, being injured by evacuation, leaving everything behind, leaving some of your children behind to save the others because they suddenly invaded a place.
Hello? I'm ready to check out. I'm supposed to just stand here? I haven't bothered enough workers today, so I'm gonna bother you. So anybody with functioning corneas could see that I'm with a different customer right now. But maybe your cataract's acting up, who knows? I know whatever millennial twat you fell out of didn't care to teach you shit, but you should never keep a lady waiting. Lady has a cutoff age of about 60. You're a fossil at best. Let's not forget that my tax dollars pay for all this. I'll have your job in a heartbeat. It's cute that you think I get paid enough to care. Cash your card. See, that's the problem with you new kids. No one wants to work these days. Why is it so heavy? That's a black card. Yeah, black card. I guess your generation wouldn't know nothing about that. Need me to put Silver Surfers up here while I explain it to you on the bottom half? I know the youth have attention and IQ problems nowadays. See, that there signifies old money. The card isn't what gave away how old the money might be. I think the crow's feet do that by themselves. Oh, what do we have here? Oh, adult diapers. Having trouble these days. I feel like you could lower your voice when talking about what's in my... Oh, would you look at that? No barcode. No, it's fine, actually. Could I get a price check on the XXL Megamax Adult Pampers at Register 4, right here, Register 4? Extra absorbent, multi-use adult Pampers. I'm sorry, were you gonna say something? I no longer want them. It's gonna be a hold on that XXL Megamax Extra Absorbent Multi-Use Adult Pamper price check. Customer at Register 4, gray curls, pink house coat. She changed her mind. You have a nice day.
And again, this is why legal advice and PR advice are generally working together, but two separate things. So this is Alix Earle's apology that she did on her stories. It's like a written statement. But I specifically wanted to address the second half of it because I think that that's the most fascinating part of this. The first half is just her saying, I was 13 years old. I didn't know the weight of the word. My words hurt so many, blah, blah, blah. That the usual part of the statement. But the second half reads, I regret how I handled the situation, allowing too many people to talk me out of saying something for too long. I wasn't sure how to handle it, and unfortunately the advice I was given, although well-intended, was wrong. And then it goes on to say, down a little bit further, in the absence of my addressing this, my silence allowed others to fill the void with rumors that simply aren't true. One rumor in particular is that I tried to trademark my old posts, which is absolutely ridiculous and untrue. I mean, regardless of whether she tried to trademark it or not, I didn't see any trademarks under the name Alix Earle. To be honest, I think they could be owned by her law firm. But regardless, people need to understand that lawyers and PR professionals come from two very different and distinct vantage points. A lawyer's job is to reduce the amount of legal liability their client is to assume for any one or more actions. And PR are there to manage the public perception as well as the noise around those wrongdoings. There is very little to no legal solution for a perception problem, particularly when the perception problem is due to something that is not technically illegal, but a matter of interpersonal problems. Saying a slur is an intercommunal problem, an interpersonal problem. There is no legal solution to that unless there is a law that was violated. There was none. And attempting to use the law to hide that fact doesn't make any sense. Whereas PR will tell you to address the problem head on first. Any good and reputable PR person would tell you to do that. And those two viewpoints are in conflict with one another. Because lawyers believe you should admit nothing, and a lot of PR professionals in this day and age will tell you to address things head on. Those are two very opposing vantage points.
Mocha Tres Leches, super moist chocolate sponge soaked in a coffee triple milk mixture.
Mocha tres leches. Indubitably.
Covered in velvety whipped coffee cream and a dusting of cocoa powder, this cake has notes of coffee and chocolate throughout.
Shall we get started?
We start by making the chocolate sponge, which comes together in just one bowl, using dairy-free yogurt and buttermilk for that tender, moist texture.
Milk of the almond. A dairy-free mocha tres leches? That's nuts. Beautiful. Apple cider that. Yogurt. I had to use real yogurt because I couldn't find non-dairy yogurt. I don't know why. An almost vegan recipe. My bad. A guesstimation. Some azúcar, baking powder, baking soda. I almost forgot. That's me. Cacao. Woo! To the oven we go.
The espresso milk mixture is made with 3 types of dairy-free milk and a shot of espresso, which not only adds that coffee flavour but also accentuates the chocolatey flavour of the sponge.
Sweetened condensed oat milk, yes. How do I open this? I opted to get a can opener. Let's heat that thing up. Now, it wouldn't be tres leches if we didn't add the tres leches. We're gonna poke some holes. Boop, boop, boop. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Absorb. Absorb it all. Absorb it up.
Left to soak overnight, the cake is covered in a creamy coffee whip before being finished with a dusting of cocoa powder.
We shall now let this soak overnight. Indubitably. Top of the morning to you. Indubitably. And now we make the icing. Non-dairy heavy cream. Sugar of the powdered variety. Now watch me whip. Un momento. We need some more azúcar. Mocha tres leches. Indudablemente. The monk de la verdad.
Has this ever happened to you? Say hi to Jake from State Farm.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
You're hungry. You're hanging out your friend's house. And then you discover they ain't got nothing in their fridge.
I just haven't had time to get groceries.
That's okay, though. I have a solution. Let's run. Yard salad!
Those?
Oh, get those.
Wait, these?
Oh, these. Yeah. We don't gotta go to the store to get these. What? Dandelions are completely edible.
They smell good, too.
Yard salad! Beautiful. Bro, here's some wild radish.
Oh, man.
Because you like to keep it fresh.
Hey, I always keep it fresh.
Yes. Health. Some of those evening primrose flowers.
Like an encyclopedia of flowers.
I can't do anything else, though.
I don't believe that. I believe you could do anything.
You're such a good neighbor. This is already starting to look like a salad.
Go ahead and...
like those restaurants where they do the salad in front of your table.
That's what I was trying to do.
You think there's some, like, feral kale growing in here? You have all the good stuff in your backyard. It doesn't matter that the fridge is empty. when you have yard salad.
This looks like it's got a nice little crunch to it.
Oh, no. Oh, let's put that one down.
Hey, yard salad.
More wild radish. Have you had wild radish seed pods before? Try one.
Wait.
Listen to the crunch.
Fresh.
And then it's spicy at the end.
Yeah, I was noticing that. I was like, okay.
You know what time it is?
It's time to dress the salad.
It's time to dress this salad. Let's get inside.
Yard salad.
Yard salad. This is an empty bowl. We're gonna fix that. Let's go.
Yeah, I get it.
Boom. We actually gathered a lot of salad.
What's this?
That is wood sorrel, and it is magical because it tastes like lemon candy. Cheers.
It's not there at first, but once you crunch in,
Yeah. It's
Lemon
like
burst.
sour explosion.
Yeah.
To dress it, a squeeze of lemon, a drizzle of some oil, beautiful.
mix. Oh, that's a good mix. Good work of the
Oh,
roast.
thank you. Finish it with just a little bit of salt. I'm starving.
It's actually really good.
Right?
Yeah.
Yard salad. Yard salad.
When was the first day you said, let's make a yard salad?
Well, I think I'd have to go back to my childhood.
Yard salad.
Yard salad.
Yard salad.
Yard salad.
Yard salad.
You get a salad. This is the true meaning.
When your fridge is empty, grab your friends and make a yard salad.
Meet Robert Van Winkle, better known as Vanilla Ice. Y'all remember him, right? The guy who sings Ice, Ice, Baby. Anyway, Vanilla Ice had a problem. He was making millions of dollars, the #1 artist in the country. But he owed people some money. People you don't want to owe money to, namely a man by the name of Suge Knight. See, at the time, Suge Knight was this music manager known for being very aggressive. One of his musicians, named Chocolate, walks up to him and says, "Hey, Suge, I heard my song on TV, but I'm not getting paid for it." Suge says, "We're not getting paid for it, first of all. Second of all, what's the song name?" Chocolate says, "It's called Ice, Ice, Baby." Suge said, "The #1 song in the country, Ice Ice Baby, making millions upon millions of dollars. Hello, lawyer. I got a case." And oh boy, did he have a case. It turns out Chocolate wrote the songs on most of Vanilla Ice's albums. Lawyers found proof. Vanilla Ice was forced to give him credit. Everybody lives happily ever after. Psych, stupid. Here's where things start to get wicked. See, Suge Knight and Chocolate get $400,000 from the song. Remember I told you the song was making millions upon millions of dollars. They're not getting paid like they should. So he goes to ask Vanilla Ice about it while Vanilla Ice is having lunch. She'll go, "Vanilla." Vanilla goes, "Shut, is that Shut?" She'll go, "Yup." Takes his plate, starts eating that boy food. Vanilla Ice looks at his bodyguard. His bodyguard says, Vanilla Ice looks back at Suge, sees that Suge is the size of his bodyguard and has 2 other people that are bigger than his bodyguard. Okay, got it. If I run to that exit right there, Suge goes, "Vanilla, I just came to say, good job with your career." He gets up and he leaves. A few months later, Vanilla Ice walking down the street. He sees Suge Knight. Vanilla goes, "You know, Suge's a pretty nice guy." His bodyguard goes, "Don't you think it's weird that he know where you at all times?" Vanilla goes, "It's just a coincidence." It wasn't a coincidence. Because a little while later, Vanilla Ice walks into his hotel room, sees Suge Knight with literal football players surrounding him. Vanilla Ice said, "Y'all came to hang out?" Suge says, "Nah." He said, "Okay." He looks at his bodyguard. His bodyguard said, Suge said, "Vanilla, let's talk outside." They go outside. They on the 15th floor. Suge said, "Look down there." Vanilla said, "Whoa, we are pretty high." Suge said, "I know, right? Anyway, sign this paper saying I get a bunch of money from Ice Ice Baby." Vanilla Ice goes, "Man, Robert Van Winkle, let me put the date for you too, and here you go." Suge Knight says, "Thank you," walks away with like $4 million, uses that money to start his own record label, which ended up having problems of its own. Hey, look, it's MC Hammer. And Vanilla Ice ends up losing his career because everyone found out he lied about growing up in the hood, and the music wasn't hidden.
Don't worry about where I am. I do think it's kind of funny, not funny, haha funny, but funny when like cis women want me to somehow be invested in transvestigating another random cis woman. Not random, like Olympian, right? Particularly as a disabled Black woman. Do you know how often disabled women, particularly disabled women of color, are desexualized by cis women? You know how many times I've heard cis women openly debate whether or not disabled women should be sterilized because you don't want to pass that along. Like they couldn't possibly be good mothers. Even in dating, even in like these gendered ideas of dating and relationships, there's not even discussion of disabled women of color. Nobody told me to avoid the 50, 60, or 70-year-old men who'd be pursuing me openly because other people, cis women, did not notice. The one that wanted to fly disabled women out and be like, I'm going to take care of you because I'm the only one that understands what it's like to have a disability. They were talking about aging. And suddenly, my shared femininity with you all becomes important once it comes time to protect a white woman. At the Olympics, all of a sudden we have this shared experience of femininity. Beast. Do you think I'm invested? No. Do I think that if you go to the Olympics for boxing without expecting to be punched in the face, that you're a fool? Yep. That was the hardest punch I've ever gotten. Yeah. You're at the Olympics. You're being punched in the face by the world's best punchers. Be for real.
I blame Paris Hilton. She was the first white woman.
What about Dolly Parton?
Oh, she was the first white mother.
Hi, I'm Ananiah. This is Gaydar. Today I'm going to find out if you're straight, gay, or homophobe. I'm here with...
Amber.
What are your preferred pronouns?
She, her, that bitch.
Can you name literally one trans person?
Elliot Page.
I was going with Laverne Cox. I was going with Ananiah Williams. You know, all the bad bitches in the room. What does the I stand for in LGBTQIA+?
Important.
It means intersex. Intersex people are
important.
important.
You see where I was going?
See, I'm with you. What is the name of the prison-based TV show that turned millions of girls gay?
Orange is the New Black.
Did you have a favorite character?
Poussey.
Ooh, I'm getting vibes. Who said this quote? Oh, God. I don't believe JoJo Siwa is a lesbian. I believe she's very desperate for attention. Perez Hilton, Candace Owens, or Ben Shapiro?
Seems very Candy Owens-ish. I'm gonna give it to my girl Candy.
You're correct.
Shut up, Candace Owens.
She can run hell. What famous track star and Olympian just came out as gay?
Sha'Carri, because I want her to.
That would actually shake some shit up. Gay people are quick as hell.
Fast.
Physically.
Yeah.
And verbally.
And sexually.
Ew. Which of these people is queer and which one of them is a homophobe?
Tommy Loren is a homophobe and Renee Rapp is queer.
When we break it down to its most simple components...
So they look the same.
They look the exact
same. Yeah, the same.
Who's gay from Disney?
Justin Timberlake. He's gay. Anybody that'll get up in front of black people and be like, beat your feet is maybe a little gay. I knew he was gay at the Summer Love. Driving through the drop top. That I said, okay, babe. Just come out.
That's our show, people. So first of all, you're not homophobic.
No, not even close.
I think you're bi.
No, I'm straight.
Allegedly.
But I did play basketball. I do lesbianic activities.
Just hear me out. You asked them, why are you voting for her? Oh, I don't think we need another old white man in office. Okay, respectable. But are we all gonna overlook the fact that she's an old white man trapped in a colored woman's...
Hello, leftist. Y'all are being racist. The non-black leftists, y'all are being racist. And please hear me when I say, do not ever part your lips to call a black woman a colored woman. Unless specifically she is from South Africa, do not ever part your lips to call a black woman that. That is absolutely unacceptable. Secondly, Kamala, because you pronounced it Kamala in your video. It's Kamala. She is a black woman, period. There is no need to try and strip her of that identity. There can be black people who do egregious things or things that you disagree with, including politicians. You can critique her as a politician. You do not have to strip her of her identity or make her out to be something else. She is a black woman. And I know that y'all do not want to engage with it like that because that means that y'all cannot unload in the ways that y'all want to around her identity, but y'all are doing anyway. Y'all are trying to veil it as she's a white man. No, she is a black woman, and you should move with that in mind. And before any leftists get on here talking about identity politics aren't important, it's not about identity politics, it's about acknowledging the fabric, the institution that is racism and how deeply interwoven it is into conversations like this and into this actual society. To divorce that from this conversation is wild, and to excuse racism is even wilder. I'll be the first person to tell you I have criticisms against Kamala myself, including but not limited to her history with truancy when she was working in California, because I worked with parents, students for over a decade, and I cannot get behind somebody who is going to criminalize things that are rooted in poverty 9 times out of 10. However, comma with an apostrophe and 2 S's, that does not permit you to be fucking racist. Get it to fuck together. I don't know what is wrong with y'all. Why I do know what's wrong with y'all. It's a black woman running for president. So naturally y'all are gonna amp it up. But check your biases and please, like, look within, because I promise you these things are not coming out of nowhere. Do you understand how... Oh, God, Lord, let me stop. Y'all are pissing me off.
Hi, ma'am. That's it? You're not gonna ask how my day's been going, if I found everything okay, not even a smile. Your generation was a mistake. You new kids are fucking insufferable. By keeping the talking to a minimum, I'm trying to spare your feelings. Or would you rather me get on the intercom again and tell everyone about your stool hardeners? So fucking disrespectful. See, back in my day, BC or AD? Back in my day, we knew a little something about customer service. I ran that McDonald's like it was the fucking Navy. Had the pleasure of serving President Truman for one of the very first commercials. Of course, that was before most TVs were in color, so... Jesus Christ, how fucking old are you? You managed to name a president I've never heard of. By the time I'm your age, I hope and pray to be dead for at least 30 years. You don't have to hope and pray. With climate change alone, it's cute you even think you got 15 years. I'd say I'd pray for the future of your kids, but obviously, you ain't got no fucking kids. Look at your ugly ass. Ain't no bitches laying down with you, looking like a short-ass snaggletooth Jimmy Walker. Look at me wasting good jokes on you. You probably don't even know who that is. That's right. This isn't the Gen Z show. You don't eat me up. I eat you up. You youth make me sick. You're a bunch of punk bitches who are gonna die at 35 of fat fuck food poisoning, scrolling on your fat fuck phones once all the processed shit you let us pump into your fat fuck groceries finally catches up with you. While I got to live long, socializing, vacationing, touching grass, but don't worry. If you YouTube ocean sounds on your laptop, turn your Dollar Tree box fan on high, and stand at mommy's basement window when the sun's hitting you just right, just search through the Bahamas hashtag. I'm sure it's just as fulfilling. Have a nice day, ma'am. You too, hun.
You're human, y'all, whether you like it or not, okay? And humans have basic things that we need. One of the most basic things humans need is care. We need care. We see it in our babies, right? When a baby comes out of the womb, that baby doesn't just pop up and start walking and can take care of itself. No, it needs constant attention, constant care, and preferably for more than one person. Right? So this is foundational to being human. And we are seeing this urgency and need right now in the present day as people are calling, pleading for folks to come into community so that we have different systems and structures put in place as we are seeing the rise of authoritarian government making in the West. What we are really hearing and seeing people call for is us coming back into our humanities. We haven't been human for a very long time because that's what the colonial project took and remade and fed back to us over these past few centuries, is this idea of humanity and what it means to be human. We got fed this idea in the West that humanity requires some type of individuality, but the individual that we are fed is nothing more than a script that requires your performance and disciplining in order for you to be seen as somehow legitimate in a society, therefore human. But the humanity that we are told to perform in these fucked up structures removes us from the essence of what it means to be human, which is care, community, belonging. And it's not some kind of complicated formula, y'all, but it will feel complicated as you come back into the essence of the materiality of your existence, which is your body, in order for you to realize that your humanity is also finite. And if we don't take care of the vessel that holds that essence, which is the body, which means that we need to take care of other people's vessels that hold their essence, which is their body, in order for us to be able to fully embody our humanity, then right now what we are also feeling in this present moment is how much we have been robbed of the essence of life. Because to be fully human in your humanity and understanding the intricate and contradictory nature of it means that you are actually living. So do you want to live? And if so, can you allow yourself to fully embody that humanity? If you want to learn more with me and really think about what it means to embody the humanity that is for all of us, check out here. And as always, like, share, and follow for more.
I can't talk to too many cis hetero men for too fucking long because one thing about them niggas,
they can't never just vibe. Like, they don't know how to just vibe. Like, goddamn. Luckily, it's not every straight man, because I swear to God, half of my friend group, I probably wouldn't even have full conversations with them niggas if they were like this. So I'm having a casual conversation with a straight man, and I'm explaining a story to him, right? Now, mind you, he already knows that I'm one of the girls, but it doesn't bother him. Now, the thing about me is, if I'm able to have a good conversation with you, I get comfortable pretty fast. So in the middle of my explanation, I go, now, girl, mind you, right? He cut me off quickly. He talking about, whoa, bro. I know you one of them. Like, he did this. He's like, I know you one of them, but you ain't got to do all that with me now. Now, me, I am genuinely confused because I'm like, what are you talking about? Do all what? I didn't even do anything. He talking about just say, bro, I ain't no girl now. I hate you niggas. My stepfather be doing the same shit, and it irritates the fuck out of me because it's just like, every time I hear that shit come out of a man's mouth, are you niggas dumb? Like, are you dumb? But I'm gonna break it down with some real simple math. You know how if you casually having a conversation with one of your homies and you refer to him as bro, right? If you had a homegirl and you having a casual conversation with her, you'll most likely refer to her the same way. Bro, check this out. Bro, did you see this? Bro, this, that, and the third. That doesn't mean that you're calling her a man. Just like if you had a group of friends and you had a girl in that friend group, I guarantee you're gonna call her bro, just like how you call everybody else in that friend group bro, right? Just like how, and vice versa, if a woman is talking to one of her homegirls, right, and refers to her as girl, it doesn't mean I'm literally calling you a girl. It's just casual language. The two words are literally used in the exact same context. Like, what are we talking about here? Because in this context, I have never heard of a woman being referred to as bro and then instantly getting offended talking about some bro. I ain't one of those. I ain't no nigga. I ain't no man. Don't refer to me as bro. But them niggas, they never miss a beat. Like, just vibe, twin. God damn.
Hey, y'all, got a new set, got some new nails, but also I wanted to come on here and let y'all know I can't rock with no bitch who be disrespecting customer service workers. Absolutely not. I don't like that, because what is your problem? What is your deal? Like, these people just trying to do their job and you making it harder. People just trying to make ends meet. Like, what is the point of being an asshat? I've worked phone jobs, I've worked at McDonald's, I've worked at Academy, and let me tell y'all something. This one phone job I worked, this lady was cussing at me, and I said, ma'am, like, I can't help you if you cussing at me. And I gave her a chance to chill out, and she's still yelling and cussing, and I want to say she called me out my name, and I said, okay, I can't deal with this. And this was one of them phone jobs where people would be waiting like 30, 45 minutes, an hour or two to get on the phone with somebody, and I get you frustrated, but don't talk to me like that. And working at Academy during the holiday season is pure hell. Some folks act like it's not a store full of people in here trying to get stuff for their family. You are not the only one in here. Like, we would always have to go get a manager, and it's like sometimes I didn't like the way our managers took their frustrations out on us because we're just doing our job, and there were times where we just had to get a manager. And that's another thing, because a lot of people was already working in really messy and unhappy work environments just because the people that they work with aren't really good people either. But having to deal with that from customers, it's like a double whammy. But y'all, people really get disrespectful during holiday season. Folks seem to lose their good sense, and I don't get that. You are interacting with real people. Customer service workers are not your personal punching bags. And what be getting me is some of the people that be disrespecting them be customer service workers too. So you know how people get down. Most to all of us understand what it's like to work a customer service job. We know how tedious it is. So why would you turn around and do that shit? People that do stuff like that is just miserable to me. I don't like that.
Hi, my name is Woodland, and this is what's on my walls. I moved into this apartment by myself 4 months ago. I've never furnished an apartment before, so I figured, why not start with this collage that I made out of a painting of a sickly Victorian schoolboy and a cut-up ebony magazine from the 80s. Notice how it sits over this table very beautifully, where I don't have any flowers yet, but I do have this 2024 Met Gala coffee table book, this Stanley cup that's actually a bottle that I got gifted, and one Hadestown playbill. Walk with me, walk with me. When I was first making this home, I thought, what better way to show my heart and my personality than to print a trading card from a trading card game that no one remembers, from an anime that no one remembers, have it printed as a backlit movie poster. and put it in a dimmable, light-up frame. That brings a very scaring the hose energy to my home, and now that I have a girlfriend, I don't have to worry about things like that. Now you're in my bathroom with these towels I hate. This is a sketch of a bear that I got mounted on the wall in the most intimate room in my home to remind me when I'm most vulnerable that sometimes the right choice is to shut my fucking mouth. Also, my high school mascot was a bear. Depending on how closely you follow me, this joke may or may not make sense, and I am cutting it from the Instagram edit. Let's move on. This is the tennis racket that I use. This is a vintage tennis racket that I put a photo booth photo of me and my girlfriend that we took while we were traveling on. I put her up on the wall because she helped me break down mine. That wasn't good. Sorry. I found a print shop in the East Village. They had this incredibly contemporary cover of the New Yorker. This isn't on my walls, but I really like it. It's a champagne holder on a stand, and because I'm sober curious, I have no champagne to put in it, so I put tennis balls instead. Isn't that fun? This is a printed edit that I got from a raffle that I won at a laundromat, and I like to pretend that instead of a 21 Pilots coded person, it's actually a black woman in a bust down with a silk-lined hoodie. Let's move on. Now, you might not be impressed with all the stuff that I have on my wall, and that's okay. Wall art is very personal, and in most cases, putting up a big old TV is usually more accessible, functional, and affordable than most art. You know, I'm building the collection up. I'll keep you posted.
Hey divas, today my partner's gonna be shaving my face again. So you see this hair right there? It is demure, it is mindful, but it also needs to go. A lot of people have been wondering why it is that I don't have laser hair removal. And it's because while I do have health insurance that covers laser and electrolysis, there are a few hoops that I have to jump through before I can actually get access to that. But after months of spending time jumping through those hoops like a fucking circus animal, guess who just got approved for that shit? Me! Yup, bitches, I'm finally getting laser. That's right, they have finally approved me to start my laser journey, and that will be happening in the next few weeks. I'm also going to be getting electrolysis, but I'm going to walk you through the difference between those two. So the way that laser hair removal works, one, it's not permanent, and two, it doesn't work over tattoos. Basically, laser hair removal works by targeting the darker pigment on your skin, which is why the ideal candidate for laser hair removal has both dark hair and light skin. And I'm talking the paler, the better. And because I have so many face and neck tattoos, that means there are only certain areas that I can get my hair laser removed. So we're gonna be starting off with laser, but then we're gonna be moving on to electrolysis to the more difficult areas where I have tattoos. Electrolysis is like a little probe that goes into your hair follicle and zaps them. And because it's done one by one, it takes a lot more time and is therefore more expensive generally, so not something that a lot of people can afford out of pocket. Because laser is faster and because I have tattoos all over my face, once I get the more exposed portions of my face lasered off, my 5 o'clock shadow will be gone, which means it won't bother me as much to get electrolysis on the outside areas because you won't really be able to see the 5 o'clock shadow. With that said, I am both so excited, and while I do really appreciate the fact that my partner takes the time to shave my face and take care of me, because to me this is one of the most like tender and sweet acts of trans love, I'm looking forward to the point where me and my partner no longer will be making these videos or having these experiences. So to all you bitches that are like, when are you gonna get laser? When are you gonna get laser? It's fucking happening. Thank you for being patient with me. Anyways, love you, bye.
I want to know, why do women find it disrespectful when a man asks for a DNA test?
I don't know.
Right. Why is that disrespectful?
In my last relationship, my ex told me that he would want to get our kids DNA tested if I wasn't with him all the time. If he could not see what I was doing every single second of the day, he would want to get our kids DNA tested. I'm not going to go too deep into detail, but I will give y'all a little bit of context. This relationship was a character building relationship for me. This was one of those relationships where I had to get therapy after I got out of it. I was hurt so much through this relationship. I put so much into that relationship. Even after he hurt me so many times, I put so much into it. This was at the ending of our relationship, after all the dirt had been done. That's when he told me that. So yes, it felt like a slap in the face. I was very insulted because I had never given him a reason to not trust me, whereas he gave me so many reasons to not trust him. I completely understand the importance of DNA testing even being a thing, because I do believe that it is important. The thing is that this conversation is so sensitive and it should not be taken lightly. That's not something you just throw around. No matter when you feel the need to request a DNA test, do so in good faith. Do it at an appropriate time and do it in an appropriate manner. The requesting of a DNA test can definitely start a lot of conflict from one end or both ends. And that's something that can easily affect the child. If you know before you even got somebody pregnant that you want to get a DNA test done, then you need to let your partner know that. If concern comes during the pregnancy or after the pregnancy, then please handle that conversation with grace and maturity. This is not one of those things where every situation that a DNA test is brought up in is the exact same. So this conversation is not necessarily black and white. Every woman that gets offended by that is not guilty. It's not that every woman is up to something. Sometimes it is just really insulting depending on what kind of situation that woman is in.
So Mr. Beast had a problem. He just recently fired his longtime friend and co-worker, Ava Chris Tyson, for speaking inappropriately to people who are 18. -4. Let me give some of y'all a second. But that wasn't his problem. His problem came after he tweeted he was disgusted by Ava's behavior, and people started coming out saying, "Why are you disgusted? You knew." Now, why are people saying this? Well, because when I said longtime friend, I meant longtime friend. Even roommates at one point, way back to the days where Ava was Chris. Yes, if you didn't know, Ava is trans. Now, if you think that's relevant to this situation, then wisdom is chasing you, but you are faster. But see, here's where things start to get wicked. So I need you to really pay attention. People are also saying this is because Ava was doing all of this in public. This wasn't no private chat. All of this stuff was on a public Discord server and also all over Twitter. So why didn't anyone do anything about it? Well, in 2016, the internet was a very different place. So back when Ava was doing all of this, inappropriate jokes were running rampant. It was cool for people to be edgy. I never understood it, but hey. So a person who's 18 -4 hops into a Discord that Ava is a part of. They say, "Hey, I'm a big fan of Mr. Beast, word." He becomes friends with the crew. He starts working with them. He gets comfortable and starts making edgy jokes. Ava starts making edgy jokes as well. Weird ones like this, calling the people in the chat daddy, mommy, even the youthful people. Okay, now that you got the gist of this, you ready to take the story up a notch? See, the only reason this stuff surfaced was because some guy named Prism makes a YouTube video of himself sitting on a park bench saying all this. People lose it. So the youth that Ava was talking to, lock in, you finna hear a few names. His name is Lava. He comes out explaining that most of the stuff that Prism guy was saying in that park bench video is just simply untrue. That the only thing that happened was they made weird, edgy jokes. The Prism guy knew that wouldn't sell, so he sprinkled in a bunch of lies. And you don't care if he lied or not now, because now you got tea. Rolling Stone magazine calls him to confront him about the lies. He calls Rolling Stone fake news and hangs up. Oh, so everybody should just be mad at the Prism guy and think Ava's weird? Nah, let's take the story up another level. Listen, there were so many lies and misinformation coming out that no one knew what to believe. But everyone could agree that what Ava did was weird. Whether you 20 people or 5 people, you're still a serial, you feel me? But see, there was more information that came out. There was an artist named Shadman who drew inappropriate pictures of people well beneath teens and his own mom, posting it online. Ava Chris was a huge fan, a public fan. Commissioning artwork, buying artwork, posting it in the living room. Mr. Beast has been seen in a picture looking at this artwork. So it's safe to say he knew about the picture, which is why people are calling him a sympathizer.
Personally, I don't like assumptions, only proof, and there's definitely enough proof to say Ava's behavior disgusting.
There's a difference between being edgy and posting pictures of little humans in your living room. We can all agree, right? Good. So the story ends with Mr. Beast saying he's disgusted, she's fired, and he's gonna do an investigation. And Ava apologizes if she hurt or offended anyone, which is the equivalent of saying, "I love you." Sometimes. 0 out of 10.
Palestinian people are still paying rent even though they're going through a G word. I was talking to Asma. She's a mother, a daughter, a sister that I'm helping. And she told me that her and her brother split a payment of $500 for where they're staying. They are staying in a bombed building. And this is another reason why it kind of irritated me when people were questioning why Palestinian families were increasing the amount they needed on their GoFundMe. They are pulling money from their GoFundMes so they can live. They are pulling money from their GoFundMes to pay for rent, to pay for food, to pay for medical supplies. Even though the amount is a lot on the GoFundMe, that's just how much they have raised. But they have to pull from that so they can still sustain like their current life, what they're doing right now, what they need right now. Like, I really want y'all to let that sink in. Imagine watching your people be slaughtered. Imagine watching your home and your land be destroyed. Imagine experiencing and seeing the most gruesome things, and for almost a year, and you still have to pay rent. And everything is expensive there because of the situation, because of what's happening. Like, That's barbaric. That's messing with, that's so barbaric. I'm going to tag families down below that need help, and I'm also going to have their links in my bio. You know, and if you can't donate, then watching this video was enough. I'm going to donate anything I made from it. But I also want to let you know that your voices are more powerful than you think that it is. Like, you can do so much just by utilizing your voice and speaking up and saying something. So if you would like to, you know, exercise that, I really recommend that you do, because you don't know how many people would be appreciative for you doing that.
Wow. En fait, moi je suis content parce que moi c'est professeur national dans le concours là qui c'est Prona que Fondation Digicel avec P4H Global organisé pour capable faire professeur yo senti valeur que yo gagné. Alors, moi te senti processus yo était vraiment extraordinaire pour moi parce que moi connais moi c'est un professeur qui travaille avec un pile énergie. Par conséquent, moi te vle énergie ça, li te aller plus loin que côté lié. C'est pour ça que moi te gagné pile mobilisation pour me participer dans le concours là. Moi recevoir trophée ça yo avec un sentiment qui sans pareil. Alors, là pour remettre moi trophée ça yo, moi senti moi vraiment dans le bain parce que moi crois dans l'éducation. Moi crois que capable de gagner l'autre changement si tout bon vrai éducation valorisée. Et ceci, moi crois que P4H Global, Fondation Digicel, que travail que y a fait dans l'éducation, li vraiment sans pareil. Alors tout professeur qui t'a participé dans le concours, qui pas joué une chance rivée, professeur national, m'a dit nous tous nous c'est héros, nous tous nous c'est champions parce que nous tous gagnons un seul objectif qui c'est ouais une autre éducation à travers le pays. Wow. Même si nous t'apprend toute vie pour nous prononcer mot pam envers institution ça yo qui c'est Fondation Digicel P4H Global, nous pas jamais capable fin prononcer et m'a dit nous pour nous capable continuer en Kebela juste pour nous capable gagner une autre éducation.
Open that shit up, yeah, my feet. Everybody came in out, but I call it Fox. I'm feeling that we're drunk right now, I'm off for I'm off for
I'm stopping that war.
You're not stopping that war.
100% chance I stop that war.
100% chance you fucking die.
Nuh-uh.
Cora, you're not even getting past Azula.
Oh, and you would?
Yeah, at 12 years old with 8 months to train, Azula is still gonna kick my ass.
So why are you even talking?
Because at least I'm honest about it.
Honestly, I'm giving this to Cora. I really think she has the best chance.
Thank you.
Of course.
She could bend 3 elements at the age of what? 4? She has such a huge advantage.
Yet she couldn't airbend until she was 17.
If I had 8 months and had the pressure of stopping a war, I'm definitely gonna learn airbending even faster.
Oh yeah, with no airbending master?
Excuse me?
How are you gonna learn airbending if all the air nomads are gone?
I'll find a scroll or something. I don't know.
Well, realistically, in this scenario, Cora would probably have the last airbender as a companion, but...
Let's face it, none of us are realistically stopping this war in 8 months at 12 years old. That's ludicrous.
Kinda makes you realize how insane Aang is.
At 12 years old, I could barely bend my native element. Give me 3 more and tell me to go stop a war? Yeah, that's not happening.
I still think there's a relatively good chance I'd be able to pull this off.
Cora, my guess is you'd either get captured by Azula or do something stupid like try and talk to Ko, the face stealer.
Come on, I would body Azula and I could totally talk to Ko, the face stealer.
Cora, can you even say that to me in a straight face?
Cora Azula was basically bodying Aang every time they fought.
I body Azula.
At 12 years old?
Yeah.
Alright then.
You are so naive.
How the hell am I naive?
If you challenged Azula to an Agni Kai at your current age, she would beat you now. If you're 12 years old trying to learn the elements on the fly, she would eat you alive.
Both of those statements are false.
Cora, you don't even know Azula.
I know that she can shoot lightning.
Have you ever been hit by lightning?
No, because I know how to dodge.
Cora, you get hit more than I do, and I'm like twice your fucking size.
Yet, I don't hear you saying you could end the war now, do I?
At 12 years old, starting with earthbending? Honestly, Zuko is probably gonna capture me, I'll be brutally honest.
You're not even gonna get past Zuko?
Look, I got to where I was with years of constant, vigorous training. I'm not going to pretend I'm some sort of prodigy because I'm not. At 12 years old, calling me mediocre would be a compliment. So yeah, 12-year-old Kyoshi is getting caught by Ponytail Zuko within a matter of days. Laugh all you want.
12 years old is just such a young age, man. Like, I was just a kid.
Well, To be realistic with these circumstances, I'm probably not ending this war either, to be honest. Cora, I give you the credit of most likely getting pretty far, but I genuinely do think Azula would be as far as you get. So we're done. So, are we just gonna let young Chen just sit there and say nothing?
Oh, I thought I could just stand here in silence. I thought it would be funny. Okay, let me make something very clear before I begin. I'm good, okay? Like, I'm very, very, very good. While you all were still trying to, get your 4 elements together, I was already fully mastered and contemplating godhood in my avatar state.
Okay, Yang Chen, we get it.
I am one of the youngest avatar prodigies you will ever lay your eyes upon. But I'm not Aang.
Oh.
What that boy was able to achieve at the age of 12 is one of the most remarkable accomplishments in Avatar history, and I am highly unsure if I would ever be able to replicate it.
This is not what I was expecting at all.
Did you expect me to walk in here and be like, yes, of course, a 100-year war? 12 years old? No problem.
Yeah, kinda.
Sounds exactly like something you'd say.
Look, at 12 years old, I was not the Avatar I would become in my later years as a teenager. I was a very skilled airbender, but I did not have my arrows. I was a fast learner, but mastering the 4 elements still took me 4 years. I refuse to say I could easily recreate Aang's accomplishments with the flick of my hand, because I doubt it would be that simple.
Well, look at you being all humble.
I just simply do not believe me and Aang are on the same level in this regard. No one is on Aang's level in this regard, and I cannot give you a definitive answer.
You know, as sweet as that is, this is about who would get the furthest. You wouldn't have to necessarily stop the war.
Oh, duh. Then it's me or Cora. That's just blatantly obvious. But I would argue myself since I would make the better choices, but that's just my personal opinion.
Okay, I'm slightly offended since I'm definitely the better fighter.
Yeah, being a better fighter doesn't make you any less susceptible to falling for traps or picking fights you can't win.
Okay, yeah, but what if I just win all my fights? Why the awkward silence?
Cora, your track record isn't,
Cora, you are not known for consistently winning fights.
I was at a disadvantage 90% of the fights I was in.
Yeah, and people exploit you to put you at a disadvantage. It's one of your biggest weaknesses.
Prime Rava carries me, I don't care.
Cora, if you're in Aang's shoes to stop the 100-year war, you wouldn't have Prime Rava.
Well,
Chappell Rowan getting on the internet and saying that she wants to set boundaries, and the response from people being, oh my god, you kind of wanted this life. You wanted this for yourself. You don't actually deserve celebrity if, we can't touch you or hug you or feel entitled to your time, resources, familiarity. This is just the nature of celebrity. You signed up for this. This makes the most sense to us. People who make that argument are undermined by one group of people, and everybody who follows me knows exactly who that is. And that's disabled people. Right? Because you all do the exact same things to us, and none of us sign up for it. This is not celebrity to us. We're just disabled. And before you say oh, you have a big platform, people recognize you, people want to feel entitled to your time, that's not what I'm talking about. I have no problem with people who want to come up to me and say hi and talk to me. I have no problem with that. That's my personal thing. But since the time I was born, literally born, people have felt entitled to my body. And if you're looking for some sort of demographic breakdown of who that is, you're not going to find one. It's literally everybody. I would go into stores with my parents, and my dad would sometimes almost get into physical altercations trying to block a random stranger from trying to touch me and pick me up. People to this day grab onto my crutches, the things holding me up, to get my attention. And there was just a video that went viral on this app of a disabled man saying he doesn't want to be prayed over and to leave him alone. And the underlying thing is not necessarily celebrity. It's the entitlement of being entitled to somebody else and using them as a plot device in your story. Because you want to know what a majority of the people who would do that to me would fail to ask? My name.
Bison had to cut her hair again. And I know it might not seem like the most pressing thing, but it's something that has really sat with me. Over the last 9 months, I feel like we've gotten a chance to learn a little bit about Bison as a person and not just a journalist. We got to learn how much she loves her home and photography and storytelling, that she loves the beach and loves a little sweet treat and loves her hair. And when we talk about the impacts of a genoslide, we often talk about it big picture because the big picture is so urgent and so pressing. We talk about the loss of life, the loss of your homes and communities and family members and limbs and all of the horrific things happening all of the time. For example, we could talk about Bisan's foot infection and how difficult that makes it for her to be able to move from one place to the other as they're constantly having people evacuate from places just so they can attack them later. But the impacts of a genoslide are all encompassing, and we don't talk about the little things that actually aren't all that little, like the loss of identity and the loss of the little quote unquote things that you love. Bisan loves her hair the way that many girls I know love their hair, the way that I love my hair, because it's a part of me and a way for me to express myself. And that has been taken away from her not once, but twice while we sat by and watched. She has had to give up piece and piece and piece of herself, parts of herself that she loves, just to be able to survive, and because she can't take care of it anymore. And she's had to do that not once, but twice. And I think about all the Palestinians, especially all of the Palestinians who love their hair, who have had to make the same choice. Bisan has had to cut her beautiful curls for a second time, and the picture of her holding her hair in her hand is going to sit with me for a really long time.
What goes up must come down.
If you care about the people in Haiti, do not scroll past. Please stay and watch the entire video.
The only thing I care about is what you are doing to liberate the world. What are you reading? Who are you talking to? Who are you organizing with? What are you doing? What are you doing that is not strictly and solely for your benefit? Especially if you consider yourself to be an artist or a creative person.
Well, I can tell you what I've been doing. Me as a artist, or I guess, yeah, you would consider me an artist. I'm a DJ and beat maker and producer and all that good stuff. I made a song called I Don't Care, Jersey Club. It's basically a homage to my people in Haiti. For, again, everyone who doesn't know, I'm a Haitian American, whole family from Haiti. And I made a Jersey Club beat in dedication to the people of my home country. And 100% of the proceeds are going towards the P4H Global Charity nonprofit, which is all going to the people directly in Haiti. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not usually a political person, not in the streets protesting. At least I haven't in 4 years. I just be chilling, raising my family, taking care of my kids, being a future husband and all that good stuff. But I do everything I can, and I figured, hey, I know one thing, there's one thing I know how to do, and that's make some damn beats. So why not make some damn beats and put that towards people that need help? So I figured, hey, make a beat, 100% of the profits, revenue, royalties, whatever you want to call it, can go to that organization and it can help people out. All it takes for people is to use the sound and pay for it on iTunes, whatever they want to do. And that should help people. So that's what I'm doing to help. Hope that answers your question.
How does it feel to be transphobic and to commit a hate crime on camera? My name is Ananiah. This is Gaydar. Today I'm going to find out if you're straight, gay, or homophobic. What's your name and what are your preferred pronouns?
My name is Emily. My pronouns are she, her, hers.
Who is your favorite and your least favorite gay person?
Ooh, I mean Ellen?
Clock it. That's a good one to hate. I blame a large swath of my problems on white women. Who is your favorite gay person?
Chapel Roan is having a moment.
Okay.
And I do love her.
She's not your favorite?
No,
So you hate lesbians? I don't want this show to turn into this, but it's so fun each time. Which one of these is an ally and which one of these is a homophobe?
Marianne Williamson, absolutely an ally.
Absolutely.
And that's Nikki Haley, right?
Absolutely.
Homophobe.
Okay.
10 out
Which
of 10
is crazy
homophobe.
because I'd flip it.
On
you
first
know?
glance, you think she's an
Nikki
ally?
Haley's
Oh,
giving me
yeah.
like fresh blowout, you know,
Uh-huh.
her daughter uses she, they pronouns.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
her child uses
She,
she, they
they.
pronouns.
Okay, now who is
Now
the
clock-
problem?
You better clock
okay,
my teeth. Name a drag queen who has won RuPaul's Drag Race.
There was one contestant who won that was in Cats, right?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, right. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I just recently saw Cats. Sasha Colby.
Absolutely. Name one brand of poppers.
Like something. Like.
Something what?
Something like catchy and cool. Like.
Do you know who Troye Sivan is?
Yeah.
Do you know the hit single Rush?
So is Rush a brand of poppers?
Rush is a brand of
Oh,
poppers.
well, that was exactly
Where do you
what
think
I
you
was
got it
gonna
from?
say. Like
Poppers are
that.
in the water you drink,
Yeah.
in the air that you breathe,
Yeah.
and the food that you eat. We are poppers. Paid for by Kamala Harris. What is gender dysphoria?
The outside is not how you feel inside.
Correct. You are straight, but you're a hag. Hag complimentary.
Unfortunately, I'm straight.
I'm straight too.
There's a common thing that happens when you present any information online or to anybody that's white, and it challenges what they've been taught and socialized to believe their whole life. Throughout history, especially post-colonialism, and which leads us to the world we live in now, white people were taught that their skin was pure. They were taught that they were right and black people were wrong. Natives were savages. Indians were savages. They were the right society in the world. When you are socialized to believe something that's rooted in imperialism and rooted in racism, and when you live in a world that benefits from white supremacy and upholds white supremacy, anything that challenges that status quo is going to lend itself to you being irate, upset, and or actually losing. There's been a slew of messages that I've received from this video that I was expecting. I received a particular message on Instagram, which is an entirely different app, from someone that really actually pissed me off, and I really kind of want to go through the message. I agree hygiene is cultural. In Africa, it's common practice amongst blacks to bathe in cow piss. They don't use soap. Blacks in America lead STD and all infectious diseases overall, like tuberculosis or hepatitis. Blacks created HIV because their hygiene practices are really poor. You can Google all of this if you don't believe me. Well, Joe, unlike you, I actually know facts on things and I don't make things up. So let's go through your list, please. Before you start making claims that all Africans bathe in urine, how about you isolate what you're talking about? A singular tribe, the Mundari tribe in South Sudan, they utilize every single part of the cow because in their culture, the cow is currency, the cow is king, the cow is nature, the cow is nourishment, and the cow actually heals them from medical issues. They still very much live as a tribe, as there are tribes all over the world, including Brazil, Peru, the list goes on. Utilize the urine for its antiseptic and antibacterial properties. They also use the ammonia from the urine to dye their hair for cosmetic. They also have developed a way to cure wounds from ash. So according to you, all 1.4 billion Africans on the continent are dirty and unhygienic, and they bathe in cow urine. Seems like that's wrong. We also see a common trend in the West where white people create the circumstances under which minority groups and marginalized groups suffer from homelessness, suffer from lack of access to education, lack of access to healthcare, the list goes on. For you to say that black people make up the highest population that have infectious diseases without adding any nuance or any context to it is just flat out wrong. And while you love running to statistics to say, well, X amount of people have this, let's get into why. The statistic you brought up is false. It's not that black people have it more. It's that black people are 1.4 times more likely to die from receiving a diagnosis of hepatitis. Do you know why? Black people, although making up a way smaller percentage of the population, but a higher percentage of people who suffer from hepatitis are often left out of clinical trials. They're also deemed ineligible for medicines that are found to actually benefit or prevent the spread of hepatitis. Black people are also less likely to get tested because we don't trust medicine, and doctors usually don't listen to Black people. And even if they are tested, they're 4 times less likely to be offered a solution for the hepatitis because they're told they can just deal with it. More than 90% of all cases of hepatitis can be cured with an antiviral drug, but Black people aren't offered it. Thus, the spread of it continues. I won't even dignify a response to you saying that Black people created HIV because we just know that's a fallacy. There's theories as to how HIV was spread from animal to human, but it definitely does not have anything to do with cleanliness. You can't wash your hands and get rid of HIV. HIV comes from blood exposure, wound exposure, or sexual contact. All in all, I would love if white people can think introspectively, and this is not to all white people, it's to the ones that do this. Just because a person like me is talking and presenting facts about you or about historical things, don't forget, I've been forced to learn your history. I've been forced to speak this language. I've been forced to be in this country. So the fact that I can speak on things that I've educated myself on shouldn't allude to you resorting to racist tropes about Black people, especially when you're factually wrong about everything you put in my message. He then went on to delete the message, but I screenshotted it before he deleted it because I think he thought about what he said and maybe I wasn't the person to play around with. But
there's something incredibly concerning about the way that the protesters at Kamala's rally in Michigan, by the way, is being portrayed predominantly by white content creators. I'm not going to tag anyone, give them extra attention, because they know who they are. Y'all probably know who they are as well. But this characterization of well within their right protesters who are on the same side of the aisle as hecklers because they are asking an elected official of theirs to do their job and not like kissing her fucking feet for killing their families. What are you expecting for them to do? Like, I need people to like disconnect from the internet, come back to earth for a second. This isn't like a, oh my God, Kamala bodied the hecklers like crazy moment. These are human beings with their own lives, with their own histories, with their own stories. And their families and their communities are being entirely upended before our eyes. Like, I don't really understand what's not to get, but like, people aren't protesting because it's like a fun, silly, trendy thing. Trust people would not organize if they did not need to. People's families are dying. And people obviously are not protesting at Trump rallies. They know that there's no hope on that side at all. They're protesting at these rallies so that they can scream and beg and cry to be taken seriously by their own elected officials whose job is to keep them and their community safe. That is not heckling. That is civic participation at its core. And the fact that they're being characterized as these crazy people is the most unbelievably racist thing that I've seen in such a long time. Like, maybe you're not seeing the videos of like just a child's head or the body of a child without a head or families screaming and crying, wondering where their loved ones are, or like this one photo of like a journalist where like in the there was just blood. Like, I'm sure some people just are not seeing it, but oh my fucking God, at this point, you should not have to see it to know what is going on. You know what is going on. It is so unbelievable that you can actively ignore the absolute depravity that these people are having to deal with on a daily basis just for your bottom line to get some clicks on the internet. Think of what your privilege on this platform is doing to the perception of these communities, not only in the US, but globally, of Arabs, as if they are just these belligerent, these angry, or as Josh Shapiro put it, battle-minded individuals who just want to be angry just to be angry. Maybe, just maybe, people are dealing with shit, and they need some kind of avenue. Maybe the avenue they've been taught since like birth that you should engage with your public officials to be able to relay their grievances. Because even if your intention is not to uphold racist stereotypes of Arabs, that's what you're doing. And the real life damage of that is people dying and getting hate crimed here. It is, of course, not the same degree of people that are being much more explicit with their hatred, but microaggressions, macroaggressions, aggressions towards people in precarious situations, minorities in general, leads to violence, lived violence. It is not Arab American voters in Michigan that are like creating this divisive situation that we find ourselves in currently within like left politics. It is the people that think subjects of colonial violence should just shut up and take it. That is an unbelievable expectation to have for anyone. Like, if you don't have family or community history with colonial violence, that's fine. That's none of my business. And if that is indeed the case, what on earth gives you the right to make a spectacle, I owned the lefties movement, something that you can actively profit on social media platforms like these, off of the subjects of colonial violence, actively yelling towards the people that are inflicting that colonial violence, asking them to stop? Like, the little brat memes were funny. This is not a meme. This is not a joke. This is not a game. These are people's lives. Know your place, know your privilege, stand the fuck up.
When you look at men as monsters and women as gods, when you're talking about love and romance, everybody gets hurt in the end. Okay, so the other day I was at work, I hear Ed Sheeran's Perfect come on the radio, and I'm really trying to listen to the lyrics. He's talking about how, this woman he's met is perfect, and the love he's found with her, he doesn't deserve it for whatever reason, right? And it really got me thinking about how a lot of times in love songs, men always frame love as something that they don't deserve, while women frame love as something they have waited so nobly on to finally receive. And I think that both of those points of view are really kind of dehumanizing. Women should not have the responsibility or the preconceived notion of being perfect at love. That's completely unrealistic and a completely unfair burden to put on the shoulders of women, to be so perfect at love and to teach men how to love. On the flip side of that coin, it is unfair to think of men as monsters of love. Right? We got to call them to be better. Oh my God, men are not inherently terrible at love. Women are not inherently good at love. Like, to me, for a man to look at love as something that he doesn't deserve is implying that he has done some sort of action, hurt or betrayal to someone else to make him not deserve it. I think that the amount of love songs that men have with that same trope in it is a really big expression of how we as society view and experience men as monsters in relationships. On the other hand, I think that a lot of female-led love songs always talking about love being something I've waited on, what all I've deserved all my life. I've been waiting. I think that is an expression of how we as a society view women as gods when it comes to love. I think both of those things are so harmful. I don't think that's fair to men. I would hope there are some men out here that deserve good, healthy, reciprocal love. I would like to think that that all men are not waiting around for something that they feel like they don't deserve. We gotta be careful how we use media. It's interesting. That's all I'm saying.
Meet Lil Yachty. He formed a group called the Concrete Boys, consisting of all these members, except for the fact that I just lied to you. This member ain't a member no more, and that's where our problems begin. Her name is Caribou, and she was recently kicked out of the group. Why? Well, be patient. We finna get to that. See, Lil Yachty had a problem. When he kicked her out, it became a big thing because they didn't announce why. Suddenly, Caribou starts posting stuff saying, like, y'all finna see. Everyone like, see what? She like... Everybody said, Yachty, what's she talking about, bro? Yachty said, I wish her the best. Bless. So everybody forgot about it until the interview. See, Lil Yachty and his best friend Mitch have a podcast together where rappers come in and they talk to them. So Key Glock comes in one day. Them folk talking, and Lil Yachty and his best friend start getting into a heated discussion. Look at Key Glock posture. That man's sitting there going, damn. Because at one point, Lil Yachty says, where would you be without me? But wait, it wasn't just for no reason. The conversation was about how do people make it out of the hood, listen closely, with not many options. So Mitch, Yachty's friend, was saying, I would tell people don't do anything crazy and just try to make it out. Lil Yachty's like, you had options though. I, Lil Yachty, was your option. This one to start getting heated. His boy Mitch goes, well, what do you want me to say to the people I need to say it to? Lil Yachty goes, I'm not saying what I want you to say. I'm just saying you can't say what you just said. Key Glock goes, snap. In fact, Key Glock tries to change the subject, saying, hey, Mitch, what would you say to me growing up? But Lil Yachty said, hold on, we not done. Key Glock said, where's my phone? He then begins to explain his history with Mitch, which is very important for the Caribou situation as well. Lil Yachty basically says, Mitch, you ain't had no job. You had the luxury of chilling in my crib until you figured out what you wanted to do. When you figured it out, the podcast, I helped make it happen. Mitch basically goes, all right, I guess. And they just continue the podcast like normal. But there's more to it than that. See, Yachty has a history when it comes to working with friends. In fact, he had a group called the Sailing Team way back in the day that consisted of his friends. He spent millions on their music, but they then break up. Lil Yachty claims that they were all too lazy. It goes to how he met Caribou. She started off as his friend and personal assistant. She said, Yachty, He said, yup. She said, I want to make music. He said, let's do it. So he spends $900,000 on her come up. How do I know it was $900,000? Well, here's where it starts to get wicked. Lil Yachty hops on an Instagram live. Remember all that stuff that was happening with Mitch? Well, the internet went crazy. They were saying, how can you treat your best friend like that on your podcast? All that. So Lil Yachty hops on live. He says, I just woke up to me getting flamed on Twitter. I hit up my best friend, Mitch. This is Lil Yachty saying this. And I told him, why didn't you defend me on Twitter? Mitch said, don't worry about it. It's just Twitter. Fire for that. I'm hot. Mitch, you ain't my dog. We ain't doing no more podcasts. People in the comments were saying, damn, because no one has ever seen Yachty like this in his decade-long career. Yachty goes, damn, I ain't finished. He then begins to talk about Caribou. Because see, I've got to tell you something. While people were talking about the whole Mitch situation, somebody says, I see why Caribou left the group. Someone else hops in and says, I asked her why she left, and she said they were bullying her. Everyone goes, Caribou basically said, I was trying to tell y'all. Lil Yachty says, okay, I'm finna crash out. How about we talk about why I kicked you out of Concrete Boys in the first place? Because you, Caribou, are a bully. You talk to everyone like they're beneath you, and I can't rock with that. Let's keep going. I wrote all of your songs. The On the Radar freestyle that got you famous, I wrote that. I'm finna upload proof. He uploads proof. He then goes on to say how she 900,000 in the hole. He then goes on to say things that maybe he shouldn't have to say, like how his whole group, he dressed his whole group. His group said, why am I in it? Actually, no, they didn't say anything, but it led people to say, yo, Yachty, why you keep calling out these people like this, bro? They were calling him out for making it look like his friends can't do nothing on their own. And to be fair to Yachty, he didn't mean to call out his friends. He was just saying how much he does for people, which got people even more upset. So people said maybe he's not helping his friends for the right reasons. Mitch came out and said Yachty is a great friend. People said, shut up. You just want the podcast to come back. He sunned you. Caribou said, see, Yachty be bullying people. People said, shut up. You don't make your own music. And you just playing the victim. So what did we learn? I don't think anything really.
This is an open letter to Kamala Harris, as well as, any staffers who may come across this, whether for the White House or for the campaign itself. If you see it, please pass it along to your boss. Thank you. School is starting back up, which means protests are going to pick back up, very rightfully so. Given all that has occurred the entire summer, which unfortunately has been a lot, most recent of which being the declaration of a polio epidemic, which Gaza has not seen polio in over 25 years. There is a 10-month-old that has been paralyzed, a 10-month-old. I personally foresee these protests being in a similar intensity as the ones we saw last spring, if not even greater intensity, because students are exhausted not only from day in, day out seeing and reading about the carnage that people are facing on a daily basis, the video after video after video of bombing, of beheaded baby, of this, that, or the other incredibly violent image that will never leave our brains ever, but also the institutional repression and violence that has followed folks protesting this daily carnage, such as folks being expelled, teachers losing their positions entirely because they said something about the genocide or about apartheid in general, students being suspended and thereby losing access to dining halls and their housing, being evicted from their housing. We've seen snipers on the roofs of schools. We've seen NYPD barricading people into dorms and buildings at threat of arrest. We've seen unbelievable amounts of police brutality that has been documented, very, very well documented. Students are traumatized by our viewing and our complicity in this ongoing live-streamed genocide, and by the violent and repressive response to any speech that challenges or brings light to our anger with this complicity at the behest or co-signed by governmental offices all the way up to the federal level, all in the name of student safety. And safety for whom, right? Because student protesters have legitimately been hospitalized from police beating the living shit out of them. I can't tell you bar for bar what happens next. The previous semester was my last, but I can tell you one thing: students are not letting up anytime soon with these protests, and they shouldn't. But I will say that governmental responses to these protests, especially as they get nearer and nearer to the election, will affect turnout, definitively. People got substantially more disillusioned with Biden after his characterization of nonviolent campus protests. And if Kamala's comments on the matter are anything like the comments she made after the protests against Netanyahu's visit to Congress, girl, you're cooked. You're cooked. So, just tread very, very carefully.
Don't worry, you're safe. This isn't another think piece on what he did. There's already too many of those. I'm seeing a lot of people celebrate the downfall of Mosquito Dorito. Like, oh my God, finally, I always hated that dude. Or, oh my God, I can't stand when his videos come on my FYP. And that really confuses me because why don't y'all just block people y'all don't like? I give somebody one time to annoy me and then I just block them. I press the block button for fun. I probably got y'all favorite creators blocked. I think blocking might be the only reason I have Twitter still. I block anyone who uses that Olivia Wilde gif. I block anyone who uses that guy standing up in the crowd meme. I block stan accounts. Cause all that stuff gets on my nerves. They ain't even do nothing. So I find it strange that y'all will truly allow yourselves to see someone enough to actually start hating them. Christian Divine made a video a few days ago that made so much sense to me. He compared the way people act on social media to bottom feeders in the ocean feeding on a dead whale, waiting for these big content creators to get into a vulnerable position and then striking and feeding on them until there's nothing left. Because if this many people never liked him, how did he get a platform to begin with? And I don't actually think it has much to do with what he said, because if I'm being honest, there's plenty of other people on this platform who say disgusting shit every day. And y'all don't do that to them. Be folks that get on this whole app to their whole audience that they hate them and nothing. Tana and what's her name? Tana and Brooke. I just learned about the Brooke girl like 2 seconds before recording this. And Tana, I've had blocked since the N-word days. They apparently have a podcast called Canceled because it happens to them that often, or people try to do it. Nothing ever happens because cancel culture isn't real. It's not real. Like, I love y'all to death, but I can't do not one more Dana Dane stitch or Fanita stitch. Like, how is it that y'all even see what them people have to say? I've had them blocked for years. That Kevin guy, at least I think that's his name. I'll put his face here if I can fucking find it. Like, I don't think y'all, and not to defend Connor at all, like, at all. But, like, I don't think y'all actually try and tear down people who say, like, real problematic shit, because it's not as fun for y'all. And I also think a certain amount of people wouldn't have material to stitch. I'm so sorry to say it, but that's the truth. Some of y'all survive off of that kind of content. If I'm being honest, I think people only get torn down out of jealousy. Like, y'all still do it to the right people, but I don't think y'all are honest about the reasons you're actually doing it, or like the drive behind it. I really don't think it has much to do with what they do and say, and more to do with tearing down what people perceive to be a Titan-sized platform. I think it also has a lot to do with other content creators trying to make a check as well, because it wasn't lost on me that a lot of the videos that I was seeing were just like regurgitated talking points from other videos, and then like they were also conveniently just over a minute, which, you know, do with that what you will. I know that people also love here are my thoughts on the whole blankety blank situation. I hate that phrase to death. I promise y'all can just pick up the pen and draw us a cute little picture or tell us a joke. Like, everything don't gotta be the take of the day from everybody all at once. It's like, damn, rent is due. I know. You ain't gotta tell me. I barely made rent myself last month. I get it. And I know it has a lot to do with third spaces in the economy. I don't know how to tie them together, but I know it's that. That's why I don't blame y'all all that much. But like Christian said in his video, it was a really good video. I'll probably put it in the description. But like he said, that is not a sustainable form of content. I'm begging y'all, find something else. Oh my God, y'all, you see he lost 200,000 followers? Why do you know that? Block him. Block all of them. Block me. I'm not above it. It's okay. Protect your peace. Everyone, take a breath. Go outside.
There's been a lot of very valid criticism that the Democrats are all lives mattering genocide. I totally hear it. I also kind of think that's almost giving them too much grace, and that if we're being so real with ourselves at this point, it's more so one group is substantially more important to them in their lives than the other. It really is that simple. Because in the same sentence, it was children were mercilessly killed in Israel while they were celebrating life at a concert by the barbarity of a T-word organization, whereas Palestinians are kind of just dropping dead for some reason, and it's so devastating and it's so heart-wrenching and it's so sad to us. I mean, at this point, there really are a multitude of stories that you could have chosen from to humanize Palestinians, whether it be Hind Rajab, the multiple children that have legitimately starved to death, the bomb that fell on people when they were playing a soccer game, the bomb that fell on people while they were praying, the bomb that fell on people that when they were in the third oldest church in the world, the pictures and videos of Palestinian children who have lost their heads, the video of a Palestinian being sexually assaulted, the image of someone who had the Star of David legitimately carved into his back. But then, of course, if you give any of those stories, you then have to name the party, the people that are doing it. If you do, it's silence. It's silence. You can't name it. This is just happening arbitrarily to them. No one is actually inflicting this violence. They're just having violence happening to them, and we can't possibly name who it is because, oh my God, we're supplying arms to them. Because any admission of those gross human rights violations means, oops, I actually, by both international and domestic law, have to withhold arms from them. Because that is what the law says. So they just can't admit it. They can't address it at all. And then again, within the same breath, saying that I think we should have a ceasefire, but let me give you the fire that I'd like to be seizing in the first place on like maybe a bi-weekly basis, whatever works better for you. Do we hear the cognitive dissonance? Like, dog, your hands aren't tied. You're running to be the president of the most powerful country in the entire world. You have some skin in the game. Act like it, call for an arms embargo, or at least threaten to withhold aid so you can actually force that ceasefire to happen that you allegedly want so badly.
feel like a lot of people don't truly understand the depth of the genocide of Congo. So I'm gonna take this moment to provide you with all the details that I have around the genocide, why it started, and why it's still an ongoing issue. First of all, you need to know that the Congolese people have suffered two genocides. These two genocides are not related. The first genocide was conducted by King Leopold during colonization, and the second genocide is the one that we're going to talk about today. You see this guy right here? This is the face of the Congolese genocide. It's him and nobody else. If you don't know who this is Paul Kagame. I know, he might not look like it, but this is actually the president of Rwanda. You might wonder, but how did such a weasel become president of a nation? I ask myself the same question every day, but unlike you, I know how. You see, Paul Kagame was one of the leaders of a rebellious group of Tutsis, okay? The Tutsis are the light skin of Rwanda, opposed to the Hutus, who are the dark skin of Rwanda. Their conflict started after colonization, okay? Because the Hutus were the one to fight the colonizers to make Rwanda a free country. The Tutsis were comfortable because they were getting all the advantage. The colonizers favored them. They were giving them everything. And you also need to know that the Tutsis were the minority, like 14%, and the Hutu were the majority, like 85%, and another group, the Twa, that was like 1%. I think they got wiped out. So the Hutu, the dark skin, they kicked out the colonizers. The colonizer left. And the Hutu, they were like, well, you were favored, you gotta go too. So the Tutsis, they left. They went to the south. They went to a different country, Burundi. So the Tutsis went there and they made like an alliance and they came back to attack the Hutu. And the president of Rwanda back then, Juvenal or something, I always forget his name. He was dark skinned. He was like, you know what? Let's sign a ceasefire. Okay, we are all from Rwanda. Let's live in peace. And they did that. That was a terrible idea, if you ask me, because shortly after he got assassinated, the airplane that he was on got taken down, right? So everybody on the airplane was gone. That includes another person who was also important, but I don't care about him. But this conflict is going to create what you know as the genocide of Rwanda, because everybody was like, whoa, we all love the president, especially after he signed the ceasefire. So the Hutu extremists, those who say, Rwanda should be for dark-skinned people, they're like, okay, you did it. And the Tutsi were like, no, we didn't do anything. How do you know it's us? If you ask me, personally, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Paul Kagame did it. So the Hutus, they were like, oh, you unalived our leader. Someone who helped you. Betrayal. And that's how it started. So the Hutus, the next day, after the president got eliminated, the next day, they started a genocide on the Tutsis. That's how it started. That's how everything started in Rwanda. The Tutsis were already winning pre-ceasefire. So they already gained half of Rwanda. So they were already in good position. And even though they lost almost 1 million of, innocent Tutsis with nothing to do with this, the rebels, they were already in place. So it was easy for them to kick out the Hutus. And that's how they won Rwanda. They kicked out the Hutus. And do you know where the Hutus extremists went? They went to Congo, because Congo and Rwanda share a border. They went to Congo. And that's how Congo got introduced to their business. And this is where the suffering of Congolese people starts, exactly at this very moment, because back then the president of Congo, which was known as Zaire, was Mobutu. Mobutu was a dictator. Mobutu was not playing games. Mobutu told them, it's like, listen, these people are already in my country. We're gonna treat them like guests. If anybody dare to attack Congo, I'm going to exterminate Rwanda. That's what he told them. So Kagame was like, oh, you wanna try me? Try me. So Kagame started attacking Congo. That's when it started, because he wanted to feel safe in Rwanda. For him to feel safe, he needs to eliminate the Hutu extremists. So he kept on attacking Congo. And Mobutu was like, okay, we're not gonna let this go. So Mobutu started helping the Hutus to fight the Tutsis and also secure the border at the same time. And this conflict went on for years until Mobutu was too old and weak to defend the Hutus in Congo. And what happened is that Rwanda, Burundi, and Uganda, they made an alliance and they kind of used a rebel, a Congolese rebel who was already trying to gain power. They just used them. They gave him the troops that he needed to attack and overthrow Mobutu. And that's what he did. He won and he became the new president of Congo. So the new president, Desire Kabila, he came with a whole bunch of rebels from Rwanda, Uganda, Burundi. And he had no choice but to give them power in Congo because they helped him ascend to power. But Kabila couldn't live with it. He couldn't betray Congo, so he fired him. He fired him and he told him, take every single person who's not Congolese and get out. And that's what they did. They left. Where did they go? Back to Rwanda to cry to Paul Kagame. And until this day, I don't understand why Paul Kagame decided to attack Congo. So Rwanda, Burundi, and Uganda, they were already in alliance. They decided to attack Congo. They almost took Congo. Almost took Congo. They took everything except the capital. And that's when Kabila made an alliance with Angola, Zimbabwe, and Zambia, and they fought them back and they kicked them out, and they've never been able to come back in Congo ever since. And they assassinated Kabila shortly after. They used one of his guards and they assassinated him. And during this war, they unalived over 6 million of Congolese. And this is how the genocide of Congo started. Since these people made it that deep in Congo, they saw how much natural resources we had in Congo. And they started creating mini wars here and there so they can get in Congo, steal our natural resources, market as if they came from Rwanda and resell it to Western countries. And this is what's going on in Congo. Western countries need natural resources. Rwanda goes in Congo, unalive a whole bunch of people, steal natural resources from Congo, export it to Rwanda, make it look like it was from Rwanda so that everybody can profit from it.
Are you going to apologize to the Black lesbian community? I'm Ananiah, this is Gaydar. Today we're finding out if you're gay, straight, or homophobe. What's your name and your pronouns?
Jenny, and she, her, hers.
What religious official can't stop saying the F slur, but it's so funny when they keep doing it?
The Pope. But in Italian, it kind of feels a little bit better. I don't know.
Are you giving him a pass, is what you're saying?
I'm not giving him a pass. No pass for any Catholic.
Is this person gay or a homophobe?
He has very tiny little glasses on and a creepy smile. I'm saying a homophobe. I think he needs to text his group chat and ask them for some help.
The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, needs to ask for help. What is a stud?
It's a horse.
A stud is like a Black masculine lesbian. Are you gonna apologize to the Black lesbian community for calling them horses?
I'm so sorry.
Have we ever had a gay president?
One of them definitely was.
Abraham Lincoln might be the gay one of the group.
You gotta hide your secrets in your big hat.
Name 2 ways lesbians can have a baby together.
Adopt. You can do IVF, collect eggs from one person and then sperm from a man who's very willing to give it, I'm sure.
So you think only men produce sperm?
I really want to apologize to the trans community.
Absolutely. Name a gay bar in Brooklyn.
I want to go to Horse Meat Disco so bad,
Oh, wow.
and I was told that I'm not allowed by 2 gay men.
Name 1 famous bisexual.
I think Taylor Swift is bi.
I'm gonna go with you're straight, but had a bi-curious phase, and you were like, never mind.
I'm the last straight girl in Brooklyn. I wish I were bi. I really tried. I tried.
I want to create a timeline of the TikTok finesse because they doing us so gutter. It's downright pimpish. Look, the way it started, we most of us were there. You created your art, you sharing it with the world, you keep keying in the comments, you having a great time, you building a community. They saw that. You get a little bit of money too. They noticed that. So they said, you know what? 3 to 5 videos a day. If you want the people to keep seeing you that already followed you, if you want to keep being on the FYP, 3 to 5 videos a day. So somehow y'all getting it done. People getting it done, which ain't even normal to create at such a rapid pace, but it's happening. It's happening. Congrats to y'all. They saw that. And they gave you 1/10 of your views that you used to get. They said, you know what? You want to keep seeing them views? In the bottom right of the video that keep on flopping, there's a promote button. You pay me a little something. I might let them see. I got to pay to play for the app to work how it's supposed to work. I got to pay for the app to work how it's supposed to. Yes. Yes. Now they gaslight you too. Don't nobody want to see what you were making before. Ain't nobody trying to see that. We got to create an insight spot. Go to Creator Insights and see what you're supposed to make. But I already had my own thing that I was doing. We don't care. Ain't nobody ask you all that. Go to Creator Insights. So now you're looking to see what's trending on Creator Insights. You're making videos about stuff you never cared about. Llamas is trending #1. Here you go talking about llamas. Your mom ain't never took you to no good zoo. You ain't never seen no llama before. Here you go. Did you know that the llamas have acid in their spit? If they spit in your eye, you might not be able to see again. That's what they're saying. What are you talking about? They done tricked you out of your spot. Now your algorithm confused because you were known for one thing. You talking about something you don't care about. Now you stuck in these weird positions. Now they're also saying, you know what? You want to be seen? I got my own little shop now, my own little QVC. You start selling my merchandise. You get on that block and start selling my merchandise. I might let them see. What is happening? It's downright pimpish. I might have to get all this app. It's
Picture, if you will, in your mind, the perfect organic apple, freshly plucked from a tree, and right next to it is the perfect wax apple, handmade and looks, even smells just like the organic apple right next to it. Ask yourself a simple question and answer it. Which one is real? Got it? If you said that the organic apple is real, well, you're half right. Because they're both real, they're just not both genuine. And the difference being, to be real, a thing need only exist. To be genuine, it has to be as it appears to be. It has to be authentic. In the art world, authentication is everything, because there are forgeries that can pass for the genuine article so closely that no one would know the difference between them until or unless that authentication process has discovered it. And let's face it, even counterfeit currency spends like money until it's exposed to be funny. So many times in life, we look for real love and real friends and real things to bring us joy, and then we get it, then regret it. Because you see, it was real, but it wasn't genuine. Now ask yourself, have you authenticated the real things that you cling to? Have they proven themselves to be as they appear to be? Because in the end, it's not that genuineness matters and realness does not, but that they both matter and should work in tandem. Yes, realness is nice, but genuineness is necessary for authenticity. We out here.